Well, what'd you think of the Smackdown rewritten show?
Oh, it was easy to watch. I thought, it's like, you can tell there's like no planning or anything like this. They're just throwing shit out there. And I mean, so from a long-term week-to-week storyline standpoint, not, I don't want to say not so good, but some of it's not so good.
Does Daniel Bryan still have a career changing announcement, or is that like...
No, that's been scrapped. That's been
scrapped? Wow.
Yeah, that's however they're going to do the reveal for this thing, which they're almost at. They might do that, because I can't imagine them doing SummerSlam and not having Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan on the show at all. So, I mean, they're not going to wrestle, but they may do the reveal or something like that on the show, or something, some angle. Obviously, they're going to continue the angle, and it's going to lead to something, on the following pay-per-view, I guess. But, yeah, so, I mean, that angle is going, I guess they lost their timing on it, and now it's not ready for the pay-per-view.
They lost their timing? They didn't know SummerSlam was coming?
I cannot explain any of this. This is it doesn't seem that difficult. Somehow it is. I guess it is when you redo the show every time. So, the Kevin Owens and Shane McMahon stuff is pretty much not been changed. So they did their in-ring, and that was fine. So they did.
It was dumb.
Yeah, it's fine.
I mean, seriously, Kevin Owens comes out and he says, "Why isn't your career on the line?" And Shane goes, "Well, I'm smart and you're dumb. I'm not putting my career on the line." And they go for 10 minutes, Kevin trying to get this guy to put his career on the line. And at the end of the day, Shane doesn't put his career on the line. And Kevin Owens comes off as a person who's like regretful that he put his career on the line. He opened his mouth and said, "I'll retire if I can't beat you." Now he's sitting here acting like he's not sure he wants to do this anymore. He's trying to talk the other guy into doing it. The other guy who's supposed to be a heel is like, "No, I'm the smart one, you're the dumb one." And as a viewer, you're kind of like, well, he's right. I mean, what this guy put his career on the line for? Well, I didn't like it. Made Kevin Owens look stupid.
Well, here's the other part. At the beginning, Kevin Owens talks about why Shane didn't do it, because he's a McMahon. And the key is that, okay, let's just say Shane McMahon puts his career on the line, Kevin Owens beats him. Everyone in the world knows they're just going to, they don't adhere to stipulations.
No.
So it's like,
this was built up with a video package of Kevin Owens quitting.
Yeah.
When he didn't quit.
Yeah. But I mean, but with Shane, it's like, obviously, if he were to lose and then have to retire, he's not retiring. I mean, we already know that. So it's like, what, and I mean, like when Owens is going through all this, it's kind of like, if you're a fan, you're kind of going like, the McMahons are never going to retire. So it's like, why are we wasting our time with this idea of, because even if he accepts, it's a fake acceptance. So who cares? So anyway, so that was that. So They were going to do Rey Mysterio and Dolph Ziggler, but Dolph destroyed him. And I don't, they're back to doing this stuff with Rey. And I think that, again, okay, here's the mentality is Rey's 44 years old. So because he's 44 years old, his basic thing is to get new guys over.
He's got a mask on.
He's got a mask on.
Nobody even knows if the guy's 40. He could be 64 years old. If he's moving like he's 24, then let him be 24.
But here's the thing. It's like, number one, they have no Hispanic star. I know they want Andrade to be their Hispanic star, but he isn't there yet, other than Rey. They have their audience with kids is dwindling at a ridiculous rate. Rey has more potential with kids than probably anyone on the roster. But since they bury him, kids aren't going to support a guy that gets buried.
No.
I mean, that for sure, kids aren't going to care. So it's kind of like it's so, I mean, when they get another Rey, and I know that they've tried with a million guys, they wanted Sin Cara and they wanted the other Sin Cara and, different guys to be that over and over again. And, they wanted Alberto and, it never worked. So they got the guy that it works with, who's a proven success, who can still go as long as he's not overworked. So what do? They put him on every show, and they just beat him on every show. It's like, what's, especially like, I get like, it's, they have to put Dolph Ziggler over because he's wrestling Bill Goldberg.
To beat somebody else.
I just don't think that, to me, positioning Rey Mysterio, even now, as your setup guy, if you have another guy who's hotter, it's one thing. If he's leaving, it's one thing. I mean, it may actually get him to leave, quite frankly. He's got an 18-month deal. And if they're going to treat him like this, I mean, they'll die if he goes to AEW. I mean, like, he'll go there in a heartbeat, and they won't abuse him there. I mean, because those guys love him. So it's kind of like, what are you doing? So then he wrestles Ali and beats Ali clean. And it's kind of like, okay, last week Ali beat Nakamura. They kept talking about his.
You think Vince remembered that?
Well, I don't know if he did or he didn't, but it's really bad booking to put Ali in there, because now it's like the whole Nakamura thing just doesn't matter because Ali got beat so cleanly, and they never mentioned any of it anyway. So I mean, they were grooming this program. They have him win the non-title match, then they beat him the next week in a clean fashion. It's just, I'm just watching this going like, it's like I can just imagine the show that they originally had if this is the improvement. It's like, geez.
Well, we only know that Vince didn't like it. I mean, maybe the show was an improvement, but he thought it sucked.
Not what I heard.
I can't imagine a show being much worse than this.
Oh no, I thought the show was good. I'm just complaining about the booking logic. The main event, looked like a good match. I mean, they replay that hokey thing over and over and over again with Roman Reigns. It's like, and then the thing that they did Monday, they replay that over and over again. At least they could do is like do a second take and bash in that car on the second take with all those guys, because it's just so corny, so freaking corny. So anyway, so they do the tag match. So now that we're all done complaining about them taking commercial breaks in the middle of matches because we've seen when they don't, how bad it is. So now they're doing it again. It's like they did the tag match, which changed like 14 times, which ended up being Xavier and Big E against Daniel Bryan, Eric Rowan. In the first 13 minutes, 8 minutes of it were commercials. Now, it felt like it was a really good match. The crowd reacted like it was a really good match. I'm sure it was. But it's like, how do you get into how do you book 8 minutes of commercials in 13 minutes? That's like such overkill. But anyway, and then you end the match with, just a DQ.
Rowan whacked the dude with a thing.
Yeah, it's basically, we don't have a finish, so we're just going to do that. And they did it, and then, it led to whatever, some different stuff. So, it was a show. The ratings were up, which that's a good thing.
But whatever, by the way, is the reveal that it was Rowan, according to Buddy Murphy. According to Buddy Murphy.
Well, no, he just said he saw Rowan there. He didn't know that Rowan did it. He just saw him there. And then he didn't see Daniel Bryan there. And then Daniel Bryan, now the Daniel Bryan interview where he said that it wasn't Rowan, that didn't air on TV, did it?
No, that was only on the internet.
Okay, so
the show went off the air with Rowan and Bryan just looking at the Titantron, and just fades to black. That's the end of the show.
So we got Cliff. Well, you know what? Cliffhangers are a good thing. So that's not the worst thing. I think that builds, anticipation to keep people into the product and everything. This kind of stuff.
Usually a cliffhanger is better than it was Rowan.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think this is I think this Roman Reigns thing is part of the reason that the ratings are up, because there's at least a storyline that people are, there's that kind of storyline, a little bit of mystery. I think that's good stuff, but in the end, when they can't time it to make SummerSlam the number 3 show of the year, it boggles my mind, honestly. That Vince McMahon can't, they've got this angle. It's supposed to be for SummerSlam.
But they didn't have an angle. What happened was they came up with this thing about how Daniel Bryan was going to have a career-changing announcement. They do it for 2 weeks and don't pay it off at all. And then I guess he just decided, let's do this Roman Reigns thing. I mean, there's no way he could time it out for SummerSlam if he changes the whole storyline 2 weeks ago. It literally was 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, Daniel Bryan had a career-changing announcement. And then stuff fell on Roman Reigns with 2 weeks before SummerSlam. Like, there's no way you can time it out if he just changes his mind all the time.
But when all the stuff fell on him, the idea was that on Monday or Tuesday, they were going to announce Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan.
I know, but even then, it's like, well, you shot an angle, and you're going to build Roman Reigns versus Daniel Bryan with a week's build. That's bad timing out for the third biggest show of the year. Agreed.
They should have shot the angle like 3 weeks ago.
Sure. Agreed. You got to build the thing up.
Well, I think that that speaks volumes for everybody as far as like what's going on there. You know, it's like eventually, who knows?
Let's talk about today. Let's not waste any time. The Smackdown debut on Fox is looking to be the 20th anniversary special for the show.
Yeah, I think we pretty much knew that all along, and they're going to bring in all the, stars from the past, which we already knew also, which is interesting. Because, I mean, when they did the Raw reunion, I said that, like, it's weird because, what happened was USA wanted something to get the ratings back, and so they made all these suggestions, and one of them was bring all the stars back, like Hulk Hogan and these guys.
Was one of them King of the Ring?
I don't know. I haven't asked where the King of the Ring came from, so I don't really know the answer to that. I don't think so, because from what I understand, King of the Ring is being done for a specific purpose, which I presume is for somebody, but I don't know who it is. One of the guys. God help us if it's Baron Corbin, but it's for one of the guys. So I think that it's more of something to push a guy as opposed to something from the outside, but I can check on that. But USA wanted a show like this because it always means ratings, and they were going to already do the SmackDown one. And that was always planned for the SmackDown one. So now basically they're doing a very similar show for SmackDown. I mean, those shows, as you saw from the last time, those shows do mean, that's as big a rating show as they're going to do. Although it's interesting, they have not announced Cena for this one, although they didn't announce him for last one either, and he was there. They haven't announced Austin. They haven't announced Dwayne Johnson. So you've got a cast of characters. They have announced Hogan, but I don't know what Hogan's going to really mean. I mean, but still, they're going to push the hell out of it, and it's the first show on Fox, and there's going to be a lot of curiosity. The ratings of the first show is going to be really big. I don't think that there's any doubt about that. But these shows, I mean, they don't necessarily they give you a big rating, but they don't necessarily maintain any ratings, especially because the last time they did it, like you could shoot like a giant angle on the show, and that's like a really good idea. But they sure didn't last time on Raw. I mean, it was kind of like you have this big audience and you did nothing to maintain it. This time, hopefully they, you would think it's basic logic, right? You would think that they would have done it that time. So I'm going like, well, basic logic, they're going to shoot a really big angle on the first.
Well, what I think would be basic logic was they didn't do that last time, and the number was exactly back to where it was the following week. So hopefully somebody thought about that and thought, maybe we should shoot a big angle next time.
Yeah. Well, maybe they can do something I don't know how long they're going to take to pay off this Roman Reigns angle. They say they're going to do it next week. That's like the new gimmick, too, is like every week they promise like something and then they never deliver it. And I mean, that's cool for a little while. I think that it helps. But after a while, you like with the Brock Lesnar cashing in, you can't keep doing that week in and week out. Like this show, the SmackDown show, they opened or not opened, but they said that Daniel Bryan was going to have an investigation, and by the end of the show, he's going to like figure it out. And then the show ends, and he goes, "I've got my thing, but you're going to have to wait till next week to announce it." So, it's another week. And they promised all kinds of stuff every week, and usually have not delivered it. And there comes a point where the audience is going to go, I don't believe any of this. This is really key. It's like once the audience is like, I don't believe and I don't care, you're in a lot of trouble. And I don't know where they're at in the I don't believe, I don't care, spectrum or whatever right now. But for some people, I'm sure they're way past it. So I don't know how much it's going to mean. But I mean, in theory, these cliffhanger endings should be a good thing for ratings. But at some point, they basically promise they have to pay it off next week. So we'll see what happens with that. But I mean, as far as the SmackDown thing goes, all the Raw stars will be there. Brock Lesnar's going to be there. First time Brock Lesnar's been on SmackDown in a long, long time. They're going to have, dream matches of some sort, I'm sure. So, I mean, they're pulling out all the stops. But then what happens week 2? But they're not thinking week 2. They're thinking that first show's got to do big. I mean, both sides are thinking that. And I mean, the thing is the first show was going to do big no matter what anyway.
Well, what'd you think of SmackDown this week?
Well, it was good. I liked it. The Roman Reigns Buddy Murphy match was good. The 6-man tag at the end, which was the revival on Randy Orton against New Day, accomplished 2 purposes. I mean, you heated up Kofi Kingston and Randy Orton. The only thing is, it's like, okay, so you heat up. This is the bad part of the Kofi Kingston and Randy Orton. You heat it up, but it's like, if you watch the first one, I don't know what you could do to get people interested in the second one, because the first one was not an interesting match. So, like, if they had a really hot first match and had a lot of heat at the end, it's one thing. But they did a double count out to do a double count out.
They had heat at the end, but it was the wrong kind. People chanting bullshit.
Yeah, but I mean, you have that. But then Kofi cleaned house on him and gave him the Trouble in Paradise to end it. So it was like, so they left the people happy, but not in a way where you ever want to see it again. Especially because the first.
That's what this show is about. He beat up all of his friends, laid them all out.
Yeah, great. So now we're trying to get it back.
That's what they do. You know how many feuds I've seen in WWE that start with the babyface winning, and then the next show the heel gets some sort of heat to make you want to see it a second time? They do that all the time.
Maybe that's a reason why the programs don't have legs.
It's a very good reason why, but they do that.
Yeah, they do a lot of things. I enjoyed all the stuff with leading to the Roman Reigns thing. They really made him a focal point. The Samoa Joe was good in his stuff with Shane McMahon. Samoa Joe and Kevin Owens. The only thing I thought in the Samoa Joe-Kevin Owens match, because it was absolutely nothing, was when Elias made that quick count. All I kept thinking is Nick Patrick, all those years ago, 22 years ago, whatever it was, right? 22 years ago. It's like that's all you have to do. It's it's not that hard.
It's not that hard. All I could think was, finally, a heel ref who just blatantly cheats and gets the match over with. I've been waiting for that for 20 years.
Okay, but why didn't he do that on Sunday?
I don't know. Well, he got beat up on Sunday. And they did go with your idea, by the way. Shane McMahon, you beat up that referee.
Yeah, but shouldn't
find the man $100,000.
Yeah, but shouldn't he have been disqualified? He knocked both referees over with the cannonball. Then he hits Elias with whatever it was, 10 or 15 chair shots. I think it was 10.
I'm sure the rule this week is the referee's decision is final, so we must punish the man in another way afterwards.
But shouldn't he have disqualified him right then and there?
Well, the ref was knocked out. They were both knocked out.
No, but when he got up, he hit him with all those chair shots.
Well, yeah.
So, I mean, it's he should have, on the first time he got hit with the chair shot, he should have called for a DQ.
Well, maybe Shane chastised him, and that's why he did it right this time.
Yeah, and I mean, the thing is if he DQ'd Kevin was gone. That's all he had to do.
Well, one way or the other, $100,000 fine.
I love that one, too, because it was a $100,000 fine, so he sells it now I can't put my kids through
he's
college.
Impoverished.
They didn't tell us he was impoverished, but they just said $100,000. And $100,000 is a lot of money to most people. I mean, it was a number that was kind of there. The only problem is again, you're talking about, okay, this is WWE and
multi-time world champion.
He
just talked about he'd been there for 5 years.
Right.
I mean, this guy's made a lot of money.
Right, but so we're supposed to think that, that's going to keep his kids from going to college. I mean, that was a big thing that they were, Corey Graves was putting that over too. One of his kids may not be, or both of his kids may not be able to go to college. And it's I mean, shouldn't how much stars are these guys if they can't put their kids through college when they're on TV week in and week out? I mean, it's just, I don't know.
Well,
I guess
Kevin Owens said it himself, Dave. They're not McMahons.
Yeah, I know. But it's shouldn't they go to, I don't know. You would think that maybe there's another place to go that would pay them better.
Well, there is. I mean, there's, well, not maybe not better, but I mean, there's other places to go if you would have just gotten fired. A lot of ways to look at this story here.
Yeah. Well, it's just, I mean, I just think that it's weird when you have your big stars and you try to tell everyone that they're not making that much money when at the same time you're trying to portray yourself as this like big major league, thing, like this giant corporation and everything. I mean, do you think that UFC has guys that are struggling for sure, but not the main eventers,
not the top guys,
and not that you don't see the champions going like, I need this fight because I can't put my kids through college. I mean,
well, there's a couple that might, but
not the champ, not the top guys.
Well, we've got Cerrone. I mean, Cerrone's got to fight every 3 weeks or he's out of money.
Well, he's not a champion though.
That's true, but if he were the champion, he'd still need to fight in 3 weeks or he'd be out of money.
That's true. That's true. But that's a
There's always exceptions.
But that's the exception because he spends a lot of money.
Yes.
I mean, like if Kevin Owens had this reputation like he was Ric Flair, I could almost buy it at that point because it's like
maybe there's something we don't know about Kevin Owens.
Well, I think that the portrayal of Kevin Owens is that he's just a guy like the rest of us, other than, like, I don't know. I guess, isn't that the reason we're supposed to like him?
I guess so. He's a common man.
He's a common man who was a brutal heel just a couple of weeks ago and then turned back.
Yeah.
And now we're supposed to like him again and feel sorry for him because he's not going to be able to put his kids through college because Shane McMahon is, a bad dude. But whatever, it's a storyline. I don't know. It was... again, every time you tell people that your stars aren't special and it's all the brand, I think that's like a rabbit hole that they've jumped in and they haven't realized that it's like it's not good. I mean, it's like there's something. So this goes to another point. Guggenheim just was talking about the stock, and they upgraded it and they projected that the stock, it would be worth like $100 a share, and it's like in the high 60s. So that's a giant jump. They think it's like actually one of the best stocks,
especially today.
It's one of the best stock. Well, yeah, I know everything. Yeah, I know. I'm not too bullish on the stock market today, but it's like they listed it as like one of their best bets for the stock market, which is interesting only because of the timing of the executive officers all selling so much stock. Michelle Wilson sold 80% of her stock the other day. I mean, 80% of her stock at this price. Like, you would think that if you had confidence, I mean, it's like, I don't think that Michelle Wilson needs to put her kids through college this week. Because, I mean, her stock...
Dude, she could buy a college.
I know. Her stock that she sold was worth $10 million. But if it's going up to 100, that's going to be worth $15 million. So if this thing goes up to 100, Michelle Wilson's just screwed herself out of $5 million, which for Michelle Wilson, that is a lot of money. $100,000 probably isn't to her, but $5 million is. So she made that call. And she's not the only one. It's not just Michelle Wilson. George Barrio sold a ton of his stock. Kevin Dunn sold a ton of his stock. Stephanie and Paul Levesque sold some stock. This is all in the last couple of weeks. So, and so that, like, when you hear these people selling it at a, I wouldn't say like the price it is now is a very high price as compared to, 2 years ago or even a year ago, but it's a low price it's a very low price compared to 3 months ago. And the economic fortunes of the company, everyone knows is no matter what going to skyrocket starting in the fall. I mean, they're going to be making so much money. So the timing of these officers all selling is really curious. But Guggenheim, so the Curry Baker from Guggenheim, who made this, projection, his argument was that, in the first quarter, business was bad. Everything was bad. But that's because 1/3 of the roster was injured. But now everybody is healthy.
Yes.
Today everybody's healthy. And now it's like, so now, like, attendance is up. And it's like, attendance is up. I mean, where did attendance being up come from? Ratings are down less by percentage than they were a month ago for various reasons. I mean, there's been a little bit of hot shotting and There's been, I guess, probably some curiosity, but I mean, they're still down, but they're not down as much as they were, coming off of WrestleMania. Coming off of WrestleMania, they were really down, but the network's down. That pay-per-view number from Sunday was down 34% from the year before, which is, I mean, when you combine that with a drop in network subs, that's like pretty. I mean, and I guess above everything else, like that's really your key. That the interest in the big show, SummerSlam, which is number 3 show of the year, was way, way down from a year ago. So, I mean, and the house shows aren't up. I mean, they just canceled a bunch of house shows just like this week. They canceled, 2 straight weekends of Raw house shows were canceled. Not this coming weekend, but the 2 weekends after, all the Raw shows were canceled. And they're not even canceled to like spruce up the Smackdown shows because the Smackdown crew is in South America. So there's Raw guys. It's like, it's not even like, okay, we're gonna cut the shows to load up on the other shows. I mean, which I heard was going to be done. From some of the talent that like their shows canceled, but they're going to be doing more super shows. Right now, the only super show I know is Houston, which is called a super show and is going to have stars from both brands. But there is another weaker Raw show the same night. It's like a SmackDown show with a bunch of Raw stars, and then there's a weak Raw show the same night. So it's not even like that's a one night. And then there's a San Diego super show that I've seen, which is basically everyone. And there may be more, but that's another one. It's like if house shows were doing so well, they wouldn't be canceling tours, which they are. They're canceling 2 weeks of tours other than White Plains, which always sells out, which is, a hotbed for WWE since the beginning of time. They didn't cancel that show. So Raw's got, so anyway, that's all. It's just interesting because it's like you have 2 totally contradictory directions. One person is saying that, and I can see why, with the economics going up, but I think that he's like listened to some bullshit about injuries and things like that. And, saying things are already getting better when they're really not, but they're still going to make a ton of money in the fourth quarter. And, they could drop all house shows. It's not that important, but it's just saying, but like the drop in the house shows and the drop in the SummerSlam number, I mean, the key to those things is that it shows that the actual popularity of the brand, is still has not turned. That corner has not been turned yet, because if that corner had been turned, we would see it in the SummerSlam number.
Let's talk about the Smackdown show. What did you think of this big reveal at the end? We have 2 Rowans.
Yeah, the Rowan lookalike guy. I mean, we'll see where it goes next week. I thought it was, it was another cliffhanger. They've got several weeks because they got till September 15th for the next pay-per-view, so they don't have to rush this. I would say that you want the Roman Reigns Daniel Bryan match, if that's even the match, but I presume it is. You would want that announced by September 2nd. So you got 2 more weeks, or September 3rd, let's say. So you got 2 more weeks to get to it. So they don't got to rush. So, wherever it's going, yeah, the Eric Rowan lookalike guy. So it was something different.
What was funny about the show was, so they're doing these cliffhangers. And the thing with cliffhangers on a normal TV show is like when the TV show ends, like the next week it picks up right where the other one ended because it's a TV show. Like when Bobby Ewing got out of the shower in Dallas.
I think that we had to wait till the next season.
I know, but the next season picked up right with him getting out of the shower. You know what I mean? This is like a TV show that's supposed to be live. So what happened in that room?
I don't really remember because that segment was like 30 years ago.
I know, but my point is like, what happened in that room after that show went off the air? Are they still looking at each other? Because they looked at each other for 60 seconds. And the show ended. Like, was there a discussion?
I don't know.
What's going on?
Isn't that what the internet's for? I don't know.
Well, I haven't seen anything on social media. I want to know what happened in that meeting. Did someone beat somebody up? Is there a third Rowan somewhere? Did Roman ask one question? Because he sure didn't ask a question in 60 seconds when they took that hood off that guy's head.
We have to wait till next week.
Got a lot of questions about this.
Well, good. That's a good thing. That means that you may be like wanting to watch next week's show. for a long time, they would end shows and you would have no inclination to watch next week's show. There was no reason to watch it other than it's wrestling.
Well, I have no reason to watch next week after what they did to Kevin Owens. That I can tell you.
Kevin Owens, yeah,
my God.
Oh yeah. Kevin Owens, that was unbelievable. I'm not unbelievable. I mean, I believe it.
It was pretty unbelievable.
It was mind-boggling. I mean, it was like just watching. Oh my God, it was the worst. It was the worst. Seriously. I mean, to book a babyface like that. I mean, he's the one who offered the handshake. He's the one who was begging. He's the one who apologized, and then he got screwed at the end anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, what could be worse?
Not a lot.
No.
I mean, it's one thing to be treated like that if you're Ziggler or you're Long Island Ice Z, whatever. But, dude, this is Kevin Owens. This is like one of your top baby faces on this brand.
Not for long.
Well, I mean, it was patently obvious when he came out for his match. I mean, the heat he got for that match was nothing like the heat he got a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, but that's Elias, too. Elias
certainly did not help.
Elias, like people want to see Elias, but they don't want to see him wrestle. I think that's real clear. I mean, every time I see him, it's like as soon as the match starts, it's like I think everyone's figured out that Elias is nothing at all in the ring, but he's a big star, so people will react to him when he does his stuff. But once the match starts, they see through him. And with Kevin Owens, and late in the show, it's only the second hour actually. That's not really a good excuse. But you know, the people were quiet until Kevin Owens started doing some cool moves at the end, and then Shane like screwed him. The one thing I got to say is like in WWE when it's time to make fast counts, they leave no room for ambiguity. They do fast counts, and this was another example.
So Kevin Owens out of the King of the Ring, Apollo Crews out of the King of the Ring. He had a good match with Andrade, although it was every bullshit WWE finish you've ever seen. Gets distracted, gets pinned.
Yeah, it was normal, just normal. I didn't think the match was anything special. It was okay.
Why can't you beat Apollo Crews?
You could. They did, double arm DDT, but they wanted to get some heat on Zelina Vega. You know, so that's what they did. That was fine. What was the other one? Daniel Bryan match was...
This is the most prestigious tournament, Dave.
No, it's not.
In the history of sports entertainment. That's what Michael Cole told me Monday.
Well, he was lying to you. Very much so, by the way.
I'll say.
It's just a tournament that's better than that WCW tournament that Vince Russo booked 21 years ago.
Well, it is better than that.
And that's the standard.
It's actually about 1,000 times better than that, so...
Probably. Yeah, so far I would say about... It'll probably end up being
No one
that
has
way.
been eliminated and put back in an intergender match yet.
Yeah, that's good. And I'm sure when they do the championship match, they won't cut away for 5 minutes and kill the flow of the match.
Well, they probably... Well, it's on pay-per-view, so I guess...
It's on pay-per-view, they won't.
If it was on Raw, they'd do a commercial during the heat, but...
Okay, but a commercial is very different than like just cutting away backstage.
Yeah. Daniel Bryan, Buddy Murphy was good.
Yeah, I like that. I like that match. I thought Daniel Bryan worked a really good match. But Buddy Murphy's another one. It's like, I'm trying to figure out why he won. Because it's like, okay, if he wins, that's cool. But then like Rowan treated him like he was nothing right after he won. So what was why did he win? Especially if Daniel Bryan's going with
That's
Roman
a Vince
Reigns.
Russo special, by the way.
What?
I've been watching all of those retro nitros, and that's what he would do. Every time somebody won, somebody else would run in and beat them up. Like every single time.
Oh,
It's like, are we trying to get nobody over? What's going on?
But that's what I was thinking. Okay, he loses to Roman Reigns, but he puts up a good match and kind of gets over a little bit by doing so. Beats Daniel Bryan, which is, clean, which is really big for him. And then, like, Rowan just beats him up like he's nothing. So it's like, what was the point? Especially if Daniel Bryan's going to work a program with Roman Reigns, why is he losing? I mean, I don't know that he's working a program with Roman Reigns. Everything's indicating that. So why is he losing to a guy who backstage gets beat up by everyone with no competition, who's clearly like meant to be a job guy, except he can still beat Daniel Bryan? What's that say about Daniel Bryan?
Well, it says that he's in the same place he's been for years, which is putting over a lot of guys.
Yeah. Well, It's amazing. It's amazing in hindsight. I'd have never believed it, but here it is.
We learned that Xavier Woods' leg was shattered, but he will still be defending the titles at Clash of the Champions.
Couldn't have been shattered too bad.
That's what they said.
Yeah.
And then we had the Miz TV segment.
Yeah, they're going to... which is leading to Miz and Nakamura as an Intercontinental title program. So the Revival's going to get the shots at the New Day for the SmackDown tag titles, which was pitched last week, and it's pretty clear that that's happening. And then we got Charlotte challenging Bayley in Charlotte, in her home city, for the SmackDown Women's title. So that's cool. So that's the new stuff as far as the pay-per-view goes. So it's a pay-per-view show. It's... they're trying really hard with the Kofi Kingston-Randy Orton match to make Randy Orton into a big-time heel. They're trying. If I hadn't seen the first match, I might be slightly interested in this one. I saw the first match. It left me with no inclination whatsoever to want to see a second match. None whatsoever. I mean, you can't have an average match with a bad finish in this day and age, and then, now we're going to shoot these angles. But, I mean... Randy Orton is kind of a star, and people do it. The RKO is kind of over, but still.
He was trying so hard to get booed in that opening segment after he got wildly cheered for being up all of the New Day on Raw.
Okay, so here's the thing. Did you notice, and I don't know what it is, but he, rushed through that promo. It's like Randy Orton has a certain really slow cadence, and he was just rushing through. I don't know what the deal was. It wasn't him. Somebody must either told him that, hey, right when he goes out, hey, you've got to recite every line that we gave you, but you've been cut 2 minutes, so go rush through it, because that's what it sounded like he was doing. It's like everyone there, they don't do good promos for the most part. But he's trying to get that thing over, but the first match really hurt it. And Seth Rollins and Strowman, we probably got a couple weeks before we get to that direction, it looks like. Because they got to lose the tag team titles probably. And then, have a feud. Or keep them and have a... And then not do any angle and just have Strowman bring up that Seth promised and said that, if it's up to him, well, it's up to you. So go give me a title shot.
And let's get into the SmackDown report. What did you think of the show?
I thought it was good. It was the King of the Ring matches were good. Ali and Elias was a lot better than I expected. Actually, I thought it was a hell of a match. I thought it was the best Elias match I've seen. Ali's always good.
God, between Elias and Corbin, what a week.
Yeah, they both had good matches. And then Chad Gable and Shelton Benjamin had about as good a match as they were going to have, given the time they were given. Or, Andrade, I should say.
Andrade.
Shelton Benjamin.
But Shelton had a good match, too.
Well, it was a 2-minute match with Aleister Black.
Yeah, but it was a fun 2-minute match.
It was fine, yeah. But Gable, they're giving Gable this big push while doing the shorty thing and having him almost cry. I don't know about this. People are going to get behind it, but are they going to really take him seriously as a top guy doing this routine? And does it really matter anyway? It's different. It's a different era. So, they're giving him a push. I was surprised. I didn't expect him to beat Andrade. So it's Gable and Elias. And I don't know. I don't really see any reason that Elias should go to the finals. I just don't see it. It doesn't, even though Elias had a really good match this week, the reality is that 8 times out of 10, when Elias does a match on television, people tune out. They just, zong out. They just go quiet. People want to see Elias. I think he's a star. Kind of like The Miz in a lot of ways. Although Miz is a better wrestler, except at certain things. I don't want to, after watching those punches, I almost feel like, how can I say that? But he is. But I think that, if you got Gable and Elias, God, I think Gable should go to the finals. Does that mean he wins? On the other end, we got 3 guys, Joe. And the fact that Joe confronted Gable was certainly a tease to make you think Joe could win. Corbin, obviously,
not even that he could win. They could face each other in the finals.
That they could face each other in the finals. Yeah. And then either guy could win, but whatever. And then the other one, because a lot of people, I know that there are people in power who are very high on Joe. Although I don't think that Joe needs to win King of the Ring because Joe's such a good talker, and people believe he's a badass, and he can lose and stay somewhat strong. I know that when I say lose and stay strong, and that becomes the excuse to beat them all the time, then they somehow don't stay strong, and then they wonder why. But with Corbin, you got the size difference. If you want to put Gable as this big underdog, size wise, visually, Corbin's the guy. It's a riskier match, but Gable's so great, I don't know how much of a risk it really is. And then I don't see doing Gable and Ricochet, but it'd probably be unbelievable if you did. So there's always a chance of that. So, it's kind of the status of King of the Ring. So they announced Roman Reigns and Rowan, not Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan, which was the match that was listed a week ago. But when I watched, because I actually asked, and I was like, okay, so is this like a red herring and it's going to end up being Daniel Bryan next week? And it was like, well, the only person who knows is Vince, and so nobody knows. So
it could be anybody.
Yeah, but the way the angle went, I watched the show knowing all this, and I felt that it's Rowan because I thought that the angle was strong. You know what I mean? It's like
I thought that Rowan did a fine performance, and I thought that what they did was a fine job setting up the match. But the storyline is ridiculous.
Well, yeah, because it's probably been changed 18 times.
They showed the footage this week of the Rowan guy creeping out in the back of that footage of the stuff tipping over.
Whatever happened to him? What happened to the other Rowan guy?
Dude, forget the other Rowan guy. Rowan walked out after the stuff tipped over from the other side. So who tipped over all of the stuff?
Maybe it's going to be Daniel Bryan after all. Maybe it gets revealed next week.
So part of Bryan's plan was for Rowan to give him a claw chokeslam through the damn table. That's part of his plan.
All I could tell you
is they did hire Russo.
Okay, all I could tell you is when this thing is done, I am certain that we will look back and it makes absolutely no sense.
It makes no sense now.
I know, and I don't think that they're going to. I don't see some magical way they're going to tie it in. Yeah, look, when you have a story and you're a writer and it changes every single week, at the end you're going to find lots of holes in it, and it's changed. Look, we know it's changed every single week.
I love the way that you worded that. When you have a story and you're the writer, and it changes every week.
Yeah, but
you're a shitty writer. I realize that Vince is coming up with these stupid ideas and have to write around them. But
no, but the writers, you can't blame the writers for this. The writers, look, I know the whole, look back at the WrestleMania main event.
We need a new word for these people and not writers. Can we come up with a better word?
They're writers.
They're writers, but come on. When you hear writers, you think about, well, these are the people that are putting the story together. That's what a writer does. But that's not their job. Someone else comes up with the story and then tells them what the story is for that day, and they have to write some stuff. And then the next week, they got to write some other stuff. I guess they're writers, but it's just...
They're writers. They're not the director. The director is Vince or Paul Heyman or whoever, or Bischoff or whatever. I don't even know if that's even the right term. There's something. Vince is the producer of the show. Vince is the showrunner. Vince is everything, and the other guys work for Vince, and they're there to facilitate Vince. And Vince obviously believes that stories don't have to make sense. I think we've established that for years now. So it's
all he does is yell at the announcers to tell stories. All he does is talk about how he tells stories, but he doesn't actually care about stories.
Oh, he cares about stories. Just they don't. I don't think that. I think that they have the feeling that they've been doing this for years and years and years, and they lose.
And we're dumb.
But no, it's not even that the people are dumb. They may think that too, but because there's a lot of arrogance, but it's not that. It's just that they feel that, look, I've had discussions with people in wrestling for, decades. And there's two types. There's the types that absolutely, feel that we can't insult the intelligence of our audience, and they're the minority. We can't insult the intelligence of the minority. Our stuff has to make sense. We have to lose logic and all this. And most of them are out there just going like, whatever we do, they'll buy it. I mean, I remember the line once when it was like there was some story that made absolutely no sense. And this is in the 80s when, people had grown up with wrestling that made sense, and now it was starting to not make sense. And I remember someone going to me and goes, if the fans need to make sense, they'll come up with their own reason. I was like, okay. Now,
well, you know what? That happens.
I
hear it every day.
I will also grant you that the person who told me that, his company, when he was running a company, his company did, in fact, go out of business very quickly.
Well, how about that?
Yeah.
You know how many people have told me and explained to me the stupid Rowan storyline because they've made it up in their own head?
I don't even worry about it because it's like I know that when it comes, when it comes to long-term storylines when Vince is involved, it can't because it's just the nature of it. How do you tear up a show the afternoon of the show and then have the show make sense to what happened last week and build where you were planning on going next week? It's impossible. So it's just what we get.
How do you come up with a fake Rowan and not even write the fake Rowan out of the storyline? Like he was in a room with all these guys.
I don't know.
They went off the air. We never heard about it again.
I don't know if he's ever coming back or he's just something that we're supposed to forget. I don't know. I don't even ask about this stuff because, you know what? Even if I asked and I was told, the reality is a week later, none of it would matter anyway. So what does it even matter? You know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't even know Roman Reigns' match for the pay-per-view. I know it's always, look, the last pay-per-view was supposed to be Daniel Bryan. Then it was like, well, we can't rush it. Then this pay-per-view was supposed, yeah, well, they didn't want to rush it. So even though it was SummerSlam.
They solved that problem.
So then it was going to be on this show. And now I have no idea if it's going to be on this show or not. I think it's not. I mean, I watched that angle and it's like, to me, when that angle was over, it's like, I don't think they're going to do Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan because they'd have to do it for next week, all on next week's show, and they'd have to make sense out of it, or not make sense out of it, but they'd have to do it on next week's show. And that's too short of a build again. So, yeah, whatever. I guess we'll find out next week. I mean, the idea, it is Madison Square Garden. And the idea is, for loaded shows. It's really interesting bringing Undertaker back. It's like, I don't even know why. Why do you need to bring Undertaker back when it's like you're bringing everyone back for that show on October the 4th? Other than the fact that, I mean, I know that like the idea is because...
Well, maybe he's coming back because they're going to set up a match for him on that show.
I was told that that's not the case. I thought that myself, and I was told no. He's going to be on this show, and it's basically the gist is that he was going to be on the show because they hoped that he would help sell tickets on the second show because they thought the first show was going to be an easy sell and the second show was going to need help. I don't think either show's selling out based on the numbers that I've seen. They'd take a hell of a walk up for the Raw to sell out, and there's no way the SmackDown's selling out. So, I mean, I'm sure there's a time like a month ago or 2 months ago where if you told me that they were going to return and do Raw in Madison Square Garden for the first time in 10 years, and then you would tell me that it's not going to sell out and Steve Austin's going to be on the show, I would say, come on, it ain't going to be that bad. Now, granted, having said that, a lot of this is also the pricing. It's not just like that people aren't buying tickets. I mean, usually the pricing is not a factor when it comes to tickets, as we've seen over and over and over again. But there's always a point where you get out of control and, like when it's whatever it is, like $700 for tickets or something like that to get a good seat. And I'm not exaggerating. There's all kinds of seats on the floor that were at least originally priced. They may have been come down. The whole ticket industry. I mean, anyone who's been following the freaking ticket industry, it's really bad right now. I mean, that's one of the, in the long run, I don't think this is going to be good for any of these companies because I think that, like the hardcores will always buy and the hardcores will always whatever, but the average person is not going to want to be in a situation where they have to open 6 browsers at once to get tickets or, things crash or they're overpriced. And then if they buy tickets early for $300. The guy sitting next to him paid $18 for the same seats. It's not, in the long run, this is not a thing that's going to build up a lot of consumers. And, but everyone's after that quick buck. Like of the most loyal fans who want the tickets first will pay the inflated prices. But sooner or later, they're going to figure out that I'm paying ridiculous prices, and then they're not going to buy right away. And then they're going to have to regroup and figure out what they're going to do. So that's another thing. It's another aspect of the future of this little thing.
So what did you think of this show?
Smackdown? It was kind of confusing.
Can we talk about this stupid main event? What in the world happened there?
Can we talk about Kevin Owens?
Yeah, what happened in the main event? Like, he's the referee, and he has to do what's right with Shane. And so the very first thing he does in the match is fast count Shane out.
That wasn't supposed to be a fast count.
Well, whatever. He counted the pin.
He did count
and
the pin.
And then Shane announces, well, it's best of 3 falls. And then suddenly, Kevin Owens is refusing to count for Chad Gable.
Yeah, because he kind of got the news that he can't count Shane out, or else
he didn't know that going in. Come on. How stupid are we supposed to think this guy is?
Look, I cannot justify anything about this angle from the start. Okay, it's like, this is not how you make a top baby face. This is how you bury a top baby. This is how you bury it. But look, these guys, let's be serious. These guys are really bad at making baby faces.
Horrible.
Yeah, they're terrible at this. I mean, so it's like, now this is an extreme example, because even by the examples of WWE not being good at making baby faces and watering them down and making dumb decisions as far as stuff, this Kevin Owens this Kevin Owens stuff in the last couple of weeks is really a special case, I have to say. I cannot. I mean, I was watching it and I'm dumbfounded. I mean, number one, he's supposed to be a superstar, but you're telling him, that he can't afford to send his kids to college, and that $100,000. I mean, granted, $100,000 is a decent amount of money to an average person for sure, but when you're talking about what athletes are supposed to be making, it's really not.
Multi-time champion, main eventer in WWE.
Yep. So, but they're doing this storyline where it is, but then it's like, the baby face. I mean, could you imagine? I mean, the prototypical baby face to me is like, what, Dusty Rhodes, right? Or Hulk Hogan or Steve Austin, people like that. And in this situation, if I'm booking Steve Austin, he ain't fast counting and slow counting against Chad Gable to kiss up to the McMahons. And he isn't sitting there moping with his face moping. You know what I mean?
No, what you do is you take a SmackDown report that's written somewhere, and you go through and you take every example of Kevin Owens' name, and you replace it with the name Steve Austin, and you replace the Shane McMahon name with the Vince McMahon name, and then read the story, and you'll be crying.
Oh, because it'd be horrible.
It's ridiculous.
It would have killed Steve. This stuff would kill Steve Austin.
Oh yeah,
absolutely, it would have killed Steve Austin. And why they do it? Look, I guess it's just all about putting Shane over, and Kevin's just the guy who's, you know what I mean? That's his role, is to put Shane over, and they don't really care about Kevin. And there's probably something to that too. But
I mean, he didn't even give the guy a stunner after he got fired. I mean, when there's nothing left to lose, you just got fired. I mean, come on. They gave him nothing.
Yeah. Did you hear that when they fired him, the people started chanting AEW?
Yes, they did.
God. They were chanting it all through 205 Live, too, I heard.
Yeah, they were not into 205 Live. Stunning. So, is 205 Live, Hunter didn't announce this, but it certainly did appear that 205 Live is moving to Wednesdays before or after NXT.
I know that that's an idea talked about, with the idea that the third hour on Friday would be like another hour of SmackDown and go to FS1. But now the last time I asked about this thing with 205 Live, which was only a couple days ago, I was told that there are many different ideas and none are official. Now, that, like I said, that could change. I And that was only like I said, it was only a couple days ago. I mean, that could have changed. Maybe they actually have the finalized idea, and maybe it's Wednesday. I do know that the idea of 205 Live, NXT, and NXT UK are all going to be together, like those Worlds Collide shows. And so it makes sense. It makes sense to move 205 Live to Full Sail anyway. Because, that's been
to any arena where people are buying tickets for NXT, they will respect the 205 Live guys better than your random SmackDown audience is going to.
Absolutely. Plus, it's a smaller crowd, though. Which has its pluses and its minuses. Because I was actually, just before we did the show, I was watching NXT, not this week's show, but last week's show. And, because the thing I keep watching it is, okay, how is this going to play on USA? And, I think that NXT is a good show because realistically, my, what's the word I'm looking for? My standards for a good wrestling show are just this. Do the storylines make sense? And do I get bored watching it? And it's like, no, I don't get bored watching it, and the storylines make sense, and I don't feel insulted. So in that sense, it's much better than Raw and SmackDown, and I'm fine with it every week. And there are enough characters on the show each week that are enough of stars that, that overwhelm the guys that when I watch that aren't very good. I got Adam Cole and what's the guy? Justin Miles. Is that his name?
Jordan Miles?
Jordan Miles. I'm sorry. Yeah, I keep thinking of him as ACH, but whatever. Yeah, Jordan Miles. So, that was a good match. But anyway, the whole thing, but then I look at that and I go this on USA, this is like 400 people, and they're not making a lot of noise. Everyone always talks about the great NXT crowd, and
not lately.
The takeovers, those crowds at takeovers are great, and with no exceptions, they're awesome. But when I watch these TVs, they're not so hot. And going every Wednesday in that same place, this is once a month, generally. Sometimes there's 2 straight nights and all that. But you go every single Wednesday. At first, this coming, God, we're starting this coming Wednesday. I'm sure the first couple of weeks, month, 2 months even, maybe not 2 months, but first month, I think those people are going to be really hot because they know they're on live TV and they know it's their job, just like the AEW crowds. I'm sure the first month of AEW television will be very, very hot. With AEW afterwards, it depends on the product. The one thing is they're not running the same building every single Wednesday night. They're going all over, so you're getting a fresh crowd. These guys are running the same building every week with the same crowd. And as enthusiastic as much this crowd wants to make it work, they're going to get tired of seeing the same guys week in and week out. And the only way they're going to pop is either you do outrageous things or you debut new characters, which they'll always pop for, or you bring somebody in from the main roster, which they'll always pop for. But, as far as you put Velveteen Dream against Kona Reeves, just an example of a match that I just watched, and it's that's not that good. And the other thing too is the squash, we're not used to squash matches on national television. I'm not saying that they're bad. We don't really know. And again, it may all work out just fine, and they may get 1 million viewers every week with this show as it is, with no changes, and everything's cool if they do. But I was looking at it and I go man, the standards, to an average person, even though Raw, not that Raw sucks now because it doesn't, but Raw sucked for a long, long time. But even then, when it did, you still have 8,000 people, 7,000 people, 10,000 people in an arena. It looks major league. They have the big entrances. The guys look like stars. The storylines suck often, often make no sense. We always complain about them for good reason. And, but it's got a look. And I presume the AEW look will be the look that they have from, what they have on the pay-per-views or what they had on the VR shows, like that really cool building in Jacksonville or the Fyter Fest. And that looks so much more major league than what NXT does. And again, maybe that won't matter because everything's shot in the dark. But I was looking at it and it's like, I don't know about this NXT at Full Sail week in and week out. Because again, even this show that I just watched, the crowd wasn't hot for anything. I mean, even the Jordan Miles and Adam Cole, it was a good match, but it's like it wasn't anything special good. And the Kona Reeves match sucked. The Bianca Belair and Tainara match, I mean, Bianca Belair, to her credit, she's got something. I mean, she comes across like a star, but she's still pretty green. Tainara's very green. I mean, as a match, it was like there were some cool moves that got over, but watching it as a match, it wasn't really good. There was not a great promo on that show at all. There was no great angles on that show. It was just kind of an okay show. And in this environment, starting out, I don't know that okay is good enough. Like if AEW is good, I'm not sure good is good enough. I think you got to be great right now. There's good shows out there, and people don't even talk about them. Now, granted, they don't have the exposure these guys have, but I think to make inroads for both of them, you got to be better than good. That's my thought, because there's so much product out there right now. That's that's really superior product that's out there.
All right, so what is the weekend schedule?
We haven't talked more about so we can talk about the Smackdown show other than Kevin Owens. The Undertaker segment. So what was I don't it was like
the point was to get him out there, get some heat, have him choke slam a dude, and go home.
Why didn't they do it later in the show?
I have no idea.
Okay,
it was the same reason they had Steve Austin out. They decided they wanted to start hot.
Yeah, but that's so counterproductive.
I don't know. I guess they thought that Shane McMahon in the King of the Ring semifinal was going to carry that show.
Well, they did okay. I mean, all things considered, their rating didn't suck or anything. But that match, God, it's like there's the other one too. It's like that didn't get Chad Gable over. I mean, that guy, he's another one. It's a babyface who's sitting there with this look on his face like he wants to cry all the time. Like he's like a freaking 6-year-old who's been bullied by the big kids.
He is, but he got a big pop when he hit that German, and he got a big pop when he won. So it's not a total failure.
He wasn't. I thought, okay, because he beat Shane and everything, and I think they thought he was going to get screwed. So that was true. But as far as the match itself, I mean, I was listening for it, and I thought, my thought was for a match with Shane McMahon and a match that they built up, I thought the crowd was actually pretty quiet. I mean, overall, it wasn't like
because the first fall was like 5 seconds, so you can't even count that.
Right.
The second thing, they're not even paying attention to the match because it's all about Kevin Owens fast counting, slow counting, and doing the bullshit ref gimmick.
I know, but it didn't get that doesn't get Chad Gable over at all.
Well, no. I mean, no.
I mean,
this was never like the plan. They ended up with Elias getting hurt, so I can't really. I mean, I wouldn't have chosen Shane McMahon.
Okay. So yes, they had to change. They didn't have to change to something that sucked.
Well, no, but in their minds, it didn't suck. It's Shane McMahon we're talking about here.
It sucked.
It did suck.
It sucked. It didn't get Chad Gable over, which should be the thing. But so Chad Gable and Baron Corbin is off the pay-per-view, and it's been moved to Raw on Monday.
Yeah.
So we're back to 11 matches, which is fine. I would not complain at all. We don't need 12 matches on Sunday. I thought, let's see, so we had that. We had
The Miz and Andrade.
That match wasn't good at all.
That was worse. I thought that was as bad as the main event. Miz was terrible.
I'm glad you said that, because I was thinking they missed so much stuff in that match. I mean, it was like, because I was watching that one and I was going, this is worse than the indie shows I go to.
Oh, way worse. Way worse.
I'm not talking about PWG indie shows, of course. I mean, nothing in WWE is as PWG anyway.
There was nothing on the last Defy show that I went to that was even remotely as bad as this. Not even close.
That's what I think when I go to like APW and I'll watch the local guys. I mean, they're not necessarily good, but I rarely see a match. I do when guys are like really first starting out, you know what I mean? Like the guys that have had like very few matches, they're not as good as this. But I mean, when you have the guys who have kind of worked for a couple of years and work with each other, they're better than this. I mean, they don't miss as much as, it's weird because it's like Andrade is really good and he's good with everyone, but they just didn't have any chemistry. I don't know what it was. They were just in the wrong place at the wrong. I don't know if it was. I don't like when I was watching. I couldn't tell whose fault. Maybe it was both of their faults. I just knew that like their positioning was not good. Like it just was not a good match at all.
Well, they had Miz trying to do lucha, so I mean, you can guess whose fault that was.
Well, that's the fault of the frickin' people who made the match and booked it for Miz to do lucha. Miz shouldn't be doing lucha. He can't do lucha. He can, I mean, that's, Andrade can work American style. Andrade does not have to work lucha. I didn't even really see much lucha in it. It
was in the very beginning. They were doing these deals, and Miz had to do a spin around into a lucha arm drag, and he went the wrong way, and Andrade landed on his head. Okay,
the one arm drag spot he did fine, but I'm talking about like when they would.
No, he didn't do it fine.
Well, at the end he did. The last arm drag was okay, but the thing leading up to it was just like he didn't know where he was. Yeah, but like just when they would do stuff like that required like like what's the word I'm looking for? Required working together. You know what I mean? Like I'm moving this way and you're moving this way, and then we're going to hit.
Technically, that's the entire match, but yes.
Okay, but like movement stuff with movement where you kind of meet in the middle and you're actually hitting supposed to look good. They never met in the middle. It was like the opposite. I watched the red match with Will Ospreay, the one that you were at, right? So in that match was the exact opposite of this match.
You don't say.
Yeah, it was complete opposite. Because the deal with that match is like, okay, so the thing that was so amazing to me, because I'm watching Ospreay in red, and I'm watching it going like, in my brain, I know this is wrong, but I'm just watching the way they work together and their movement and everything, and I'm going like, these guys must have worked together 100 times, except it was only the first time they ever worked together. Because it's like that aspect of the match, like I was like amazed at Red in this match, because it's like, it's not only did he have no ring rust, but he was doing like complicated, super athletic stuff. And like, it never looked bad. It never looked less than great. I mean, some of it was absolutely mind-boggling, but it was like they were doing all this movement stuff, and it's like they've never practiced it. It's not like luchadors that work with each other and everything. And it was like so good. And this was the opposite. This was like whenever they did movement, they never ended up in the right spot. So, yeah, that wasn't a good match. Mandy Rose and Nikki Cross was okay. Nikki Cross won before Mandy Rose gets the title shot. I would question that. It's not the end of the world, because when wins and losses don't mean anything, you can do whatever you want. It doesn't matter, and it's only 50-50 booking anyway. So it's like whatever, and it's not a drawing match anyway, so whatever you want to do. But, to me, it was like, Mandy Rose Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville are the challengers. You kind of put the challengers over before the title match, so people think that, that sort of just makes sense. But they didn't do that. And then Heavy Machinery against Alex Keaton. They made Alex Reynolds change his name to Alex Keaton, so we would have the natural family ties reference. And Corey Graves said facts of life, although he did correct himself afterwards. But it's like unbelievable. And that was like a nice 2-minute match, actually. And then the Rowan Roman Reigns brawl I thought was really good. I'm not sold on Rowan as a promo
They've done a
guy.
good job with Rowan. As stupid as his storyline is, they've done a good job with it.
This week they did. This week and last week they did. Yeah.
I thought his promos were okay. They're not great, but I thought they were okay. For a guy who literally never talks.
Yeah, it was okay, but it's like him and Roman Reigns, that's like main event. So to me, it was like he wasn't that strong, and they only gave him a few sentences before Reigns came out, so that you could tell they didn't trust him. He was okay, but that was all, just okay. But the brawl was great. But, I'm wondering if like Vince, because, maybe Vince panicked and was just like, I got to go with the big guy. I don't know. Well, Daniel Bryan wasn't on the show, so I figure that like the whole thing, because Daniel Bryan and Reigns is the program, in theory, or at least it was when this whole thing started. So I guess we'll find out probably by next Tuesday if Daniel Bryan's just disappeared or this is just like a swerve and Daniel Bryan shows up and reveals whatever, later. Bayley against Ember Moon. Bayley did not work as a heel. She was sort of heelish in her action, in her reactions and stuff, but she's doing the justified thing that's supposed to get her heat, but I didn't see too many people booing her. And like, she's in there with Charlotte at the end, and she sort of backs off, so that's the heel thing. But I didn't notice like this groundswell of people wanting to see Bayley get her ass kicked. Did you see that chair shot that Randy Orton took from Kofi Kingston?
Did it hit the back of his head?
Oh, fuck. Like, really hard.
It looked like it, but I couldn't tell.
Oh, the second one I thought was close, but the first one, I watched that first one over and over. Oh, man, it nailed him right in the back of the head. So that wasn't good. I don't know whose fault that was. I don't know if Randy moved, because obviously Kofi Kingston's aiming for the high part of the back, which is where he hit all the other chair shots. But that one, oh my God. That segment was fine. I thought it was kind of good. And then the Shane segment, which I didn't think was very good at all. So that's the show.
I know that Brock made a surprise visit to the show. How was the show otherwise?
Let me get my Smackdown notes. So I thought the New Day against Orton and Revival match was a long match that was very good, well worked, with Kofi Kingston pinning, I believe it was Dawson with Trouble in Paradise. Then the Lesnar angle. Lesnar came out, challenged Kofi to the match on October 4th. Kofi accepted. And then Lesnar just gave him an F5 like it was nothing. Just there you go. So that was, whatever. And then I'm sure he made Kofi look good.
Thank you for the match. Here's an F5.
Yeah. Rowan did a sit-down backstage interview with Michael Cole. And he was very good. He did a really good job on the interview. I'm not a puppet. I'm smarter than Daniel Bryan. I'm far superior both mentally and physically to Daniel Bryan. So they're really pushing, the Daniel Bryan thing. Nakamura and Ali were supposed to have a match. It never happened. It was Sami Zayn tripped him. Sami Zayn's wearing a neck brace, by the way. And then Nakamura gave him a Kinshasa to the back and another one before the match. So there was no match. Kevin Owens showed up in the crowd. At least, okay, so this was interesting. Usually how when the guy shows up in the crowd and they hold up the ticket and they sit at ringside, he was up there because obviously, as we've been established, I don't think Kevin can't afford a ringside seat apparently, but he's suing Shane for $25 million for wrongful termination. So Shane invited him to the ring and said, "You're not going to win the suit." And then Kevin Owens explained why he would win the suit, and this is the reason that he was fined $100,000 for striking an official. But last week, he was an official and Shane struck him. So therefore, it was unfair treatment because Shane wasn't fined $100,000. And then Shane fired him for not listening to orders. But in fact, the entire match, he was favoring Shane, but Shane tapped out and he couldn't stop it. So he felt he had a good case.
And Becky was only fined $10K.
Yeah. For what? Yeah, they didn't even bring that up, though. That never even came up. So they did that. So they announced, Kevin's working all the house shows even though he's fired. So they actually made an announcement to explain that, in fact, because there's legal action, he's still working all the shows. So it's like he's fired, but he's on every show. So, and he's suing over being fired even though he's on every show. Charlotte and Sasha Banks was, it wasn't like a classic Charlotte-Sasha Banks match, but Charlotte worked hard. She did a moonsault to the floor. Bayley was there. Bayley interfered for the DQ. Carmella made the save, so looks like Carmella and Charlotte would be doing some teaming against them maybe next week. Heavy Machinery beat the B team, exactly what you'd expect, just longer. And then the last segment was Daniel Bryan confronted Rowan. Harper attacked Daniel Bryan. They were beating him down. Roman Reigns made the save. They destroyed Roman Reigns 2-on-1. with Rowan gave him Rowan was clearly being made to be the star of the Rowan Harper team. He powerbombed Reigns into the post. They double choke slammed Daniel Bryan through a table. So that sets up the tag team with Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan against Harper and Rowan, which, for whatever it's worth, there's strong speculation across the board that, this is the Dusty Rhodes, Ole Anderson against the Assassins feud, where it ends up where let's get him in a cage, and then they all turn on Roman Reigns. I have no idea if that's happening. Actually, I think that would make the most sense, because I don't think people buy Daniel Bryan as a babyface right now.
Wait, did you say this match was just a regular match at the pay-per-view?
As far as I know, it's just a regular match. They haven't announced the match as far as I know, but they're building it. Yeah, I don't know I don't know if there'll be steps. If they do a cage match right away, that would be stupid.
Yeah.
Even though it is Hell in a Cell
but
night.
if it is a longer-term angle, they got to make sure when the draft comes that all these guys end up on the same show.
That's true. Yeah. Well, I don't think they're going to break up Harper and Rowan. Although there's only 3 weeks of booking for Harper at this point. But, that's just temporary. No one, again, no one knows what's going on. Literally. I mean, I guess there's a few people who know, like 5 or whatever, or 10, but literally nobody knows what brand anyone's going to be on. There are going to be announcing changes for sure. Michael Cole to Smackdown is been talked about. Tom Phillips got wiped out by Luke Harper. I don't know if that's his farewell or not, but if Michael Cole moves over, then I guess it could be. So, but there's so much stuff WWE is going to be doing between now and the middle of October, and how it all shakes out. Who knows? SmackDown. Let me get my SmackDown notes here. They did a long Eric Rowan Daniel Bryan match. That was, any long Daniel Bryan match is probably going to be good, and this was good. And Harper distracted, and then Eric Rowan gave him a claw slam, and his foot got tied up in the ropes. Then he gave him a choke slam, and Eric Rowan won. And then they were beating him down. Roman Reigns made the save. Daniel Bryan asked Roman Reigns, basically asked the fans, in one word, do you want to see me and him kick their ass? And it was a big yes chant. So Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns against Harper and Rowan, which we already knew on the pay-per-view. And then Chad Gable, the character's so lame. And then Mike Kanellis was doing short jokes, and Chad
Talk
Gable,
about another lame character.
well, that's a lot worse. Yeah, Chad Gable beat him in 19 seconds with the ankle lock. Elias is on the screen, so it looks like they're going to do Elias against Chad Gable. Elias is supposed to be cleared a couple weeks. End of October was, I think, what I heard. So then, real weird. Okay, so it's Charlotte Flair and Carmella against Bayley and Sasha Banks, which ended with bank statement on Carmella. So why isn't Sasha Banks the 24/7 champion? I mean, it's like she beat her with a referee. Why isn't she champion? So she beats her. Then all these women start chasing Carmella for the title. It's like she just got pinned. Why isn't she the champ? Why isn't Sasha the champion?
There's not a rule that it's not up for grabs if they're actually in a wrestling match?
No, it's supposed to be up 24/7. Now, occasionally they've said that it's not up in a certain match, but they never said it in this one. They didn't even bother. So they just won. It was never brought up. And then Ember Moon and Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville and Asuka and Kairi Sane chased her. And it's like one of the saddest things in the world to me is watching Asuka chase the 24/7 championship in that chorus line of geek-ettes. So, yeah. Then Ali and Nakamura. Nakamura won with the Kinshasa due to distraction from Sami Zayn. That was a good match. Big E and Xavier Woods against the B team. Squash, fine. Asuka and Kairi Sane against Rose and Deville. Kairi Sane with the elbow on Rose. It was very clear. One team was much better than the other. And then Shane McMahon had like these lawyers with Kevin Owens, and Shane gave him these options. Option one is I keep you in court forever. I make you spend $1 million to defend yourself, and you won't have a job. That's not good for you. It's not good for your family. I'll just appeal after appeal, even, no matter what. None of this is good for your family. Or option number 2, you drop your lawsuit. I'll not only reinstate you, but I'll drop the $100,000 fine. So that sounded pretty fair, right? Kevin Owens says, you're an idiot. So anyway, Kevin said the whole goal was to get rid of him. So next week on the first Friday show, it's Kevin Owens and Shane McMahon in a ladder match. And if Kevin Owens loses, he's gone. If Shane McMahon loses, he's gone. So I guess maybe they're writing Shane out, or
Owens gets drafted back to Raw. The first Smackdown on Fox. Pretty newsworthy show.
Yeah, we had Cain Velasquez and Tyson Fury both on the show, and The Rock.
Kind of weird that you have both, like you don't save one.
I think it's like doing the same angle twice. Especially when you have 2 combat sports guys. Like if one was a celebrity and one was a fighter, but even though it's not the same sport, it's like 2 fighters. It's almost like the Kane thing almost overwhelms the Tyson Fury thing, right?
Tyson Fury comes off as secondary,
right? And why would you want Tyson Fury to come off as secondary?
Yeah,
but then again, maybe they're both going to Saudi Arabia and. You know what I mean? Because that's the big money show.
So the main event of this show was Brock Lesnar beating Kofi Kingston in, did you count 7 seconds?
7 seconds.
Kofi just rushed him. F5, match over.
I mean, whatever.
Kofi was playing the underdog role the whole time, building up to this, saying he's going to win the match and all this. And so because of that, I thought they would give him something, but they gave him nothing.
No. It's very much, I kind of knew, it was like, this is, if you remember with Daniel Bryan, but the Daniel Bryan idea was that Brock would just destroy him, for like several minutes, which John Cena filled in for.
Yeah.
And that was like the most one-sided John Cena loss in the history of mankind.
Yep.
When they did that. And this, was just, it was always the idea that Kofi would get destroyed.
Is it possible that because they seem to be going late that they cut a minute or 2 out of the match?
They were late. I could find out. My gut is no. My gut is not that if anyone got cut, it was probably the Reigns match.
Yeah, because Kane seemed to be staring at Brock for a long time at the end there as they were going off.
Yeah, a little long, but nah, it was fine. That was fine.
So this seems to set up Kane and Brock at some point
for the title, and most likely Saudi Arabia. I don't have that confirmed. Obviously, it's going to be Saudi Arabia or WrestleMania, but I know that the plan was Saudi Arabia. So I presume that it's Saudi Arabia, and the timing makes sense. But it's like it's quick.
Okay, theoretically, does Saudi Arabia, do the people in charge there care if it's Brock versus anybody, or do they only care that it's Brock? Because if you put Kane on this show, it kind of wastes a bigger show that, down the line that could actually mean pay-per-view subscriptions, or I mean network subscriptions. Because I think people watch these Saudi Arabia shows nowadays and they're kind of like, it's on like an afternoon or whatever. It's not that big of a deal.
Thursday. Yeah, but I think that those people that run in Saudi Arabia, I think that they probably see Kane as a super big celebrity because he's a real fighter. I know. It's so. I think it means more to them for sure. Yeah, to get something like that. So they may. I wouldn't surprise me if they would pay extra for it.
Yeah, because I thought, I was like, man, I'm thinking in the back of my head, going like, okay, how many months until WrestleMania? Can they hold it off? Can Kane say, because of my UFC contract, I can't really wrestle you right now, but I can wrestle you at WrestleMania? And then when you said Saudi Arabia, I was like, I always forget about that show.
Yeah, well, it's October 31st, Halloween. So there you go.
So what did you think about the show overall, and just the presentation and the debut? And
I mean, the presentation to me it just felt like Smackdown, other than like when I'm watching it, it's like, okay, this is a really good show. There's a lot of newsworthy stuff. Shane McMahon got fired, which we didn't even talk about. I mean, it was, it was like an all-star show. But my other thought while watching it is we had, and there was celebrities on. I didn't see Clarissa Thompson.
Yeah.
Clarissa, right?
Mm-hmm.
I should know her name.
Clarissa Thompson. She was really good.
I think I did a show with her once, years ago. She was really good. She was a great interviewer.
She was selling the names of wrestlers and inside, like, you know, nicknames and stuff that I thought was impressive. Now, she was doing a live stand-up, so I don't know if there was some cue cards or something behind her, but she was really smooth with that stuff.
Yeah. And they had Erin Andrews, who was, you know, she was
professional.
She was better than their people, a lot better. Yeah, because she's a pro.
But Erin Andrews is probably not going to be on that show very often.
No, and I doubt Clarissa Thompson's going to be on it again either.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, everything was special. But my point of all this is, like, yeah, you had Erin Andrews and Clarissa Thompson and all the Fox executives in the front row and all that. 5 weeks from now, my other feeling is that 5 weeks from now, it's just, you know, Smackdown.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's like, you know, like, we know this show's going to get a giant number because of The Rock, but, you know, in the long run, what does that really, you know what I mean? It's like, it's still the same Smackdown, and we'll see.
So to run down the show quickly, it was a 2-person booth, Michael Cole and Corey Graves.
Yeah, no Renee Young at all.
I didn't see Renee at all. She was on the pre-show.
She was on the pre-show. Yeah, okay.
With Booker. So Becky Lynch came out, was interrupted by Baron Corbin, and that led to the first segment, which was The Rock coming out, and the three of them going back and forth. The Rock got every single catchphrase possible out.
Yeah.
He was awesome.
I mean, it was nothing new, but yeah, he's got all the charisma in the world, and I thought that it was good for Becky.
Yep.
A lot of people are like, "Oh, it was great for Corbin."
No,
it didn't mean shit for Corbin.
He was just there because he's
a punching bag.
Yeah, he's the
punching bag.
The Joker.
Right. And like, people think that, like, that, oh, he got a rub. You don't get a rub being a punching bag.
Eric Rowan didn't get a rub in WrestleMania 32 by losing in 3 seconds or whatever.
Right. There's no, I mean, Baron Corbin's going to be the same Baron Corbin, you know, which is fine. It's nothing good or bad, but it didn't make him a bigger star. But Becky Lynch being there, it was kind of in the Ronda Rousey role. You know, it's good for her, and she's
not as good as Ronda in that role, but she was still pretty good. She was
better talking, but not better intensity.
No, not at all.
No, not at all. Yeah.
Rock called Baron Corbin, I think he called him a Burger King on crack or something, and then he started calling him cracky, and then they tried to get over the crowd calling him STD, which he said stood for super tough dude, and just to get the crowd to chant STD at Baron.
I hope that they don't. They gave the idea that they want you to chant that, like, everywhere, but you know, the people for The Rock telling him to do it, they didn't do it.
No.
You know,
because they knew it was stupid.
Yeah, I know. It was something like that. Yeah.
He did call Baron Corbin, I think he said he dressed like a 35-year-old virgin at Comic-Con.
Comic-Con, because the AEW guys were...
AEW guys were at New York Comic-Con today.
And the AEW guys were at Comic-Con today.
And they did a thing with Jericho and Cody.
They did an angle. Yeah, with Jericho and Cody.
So, a little bit of a shot there, I thought.
Yeah.
So, you know, they beat up Baron, and Becky got a little bit in there. Mostly The Rock, though. She said little and did little. It was mostly The Rock.
But her stuff was meaningful. Like, her few lines were all to get a pop.
Yeah.
You know, they were very careful to try to, like, Rock was the star, but she was just not just there for background. I mean, it was definitely designed to get her over.
And that set up her tag team match with Charlotte against Sasha and Bayley. And the whole setup for this match was, it looked to be Charlotte versus Bayley.
Yeah, for the pay-per-view. They need something. We've got 3 matches for the pay-per-view, and that's probably only the 4th, and we're done with TV. So it's going to be a total makeshift card. So there you go. I wonder how it'll do.
They tried to get the Fiend stuff over on TV.
Yeah. I mean, the Fiend and Seth Rollins, in theory, is a real big match. They try to make Lynch and Sasha Banks in Hell in a Cell like something important because it's women in Hell in a Cell. And, you know, the tag match is a tag match. They shot an angle for that too, but it was just, to me, that's just standard angle.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything special in that.
So Charlotte won with the figure 8. And then they did the backstage with Erin Andrews and New Day. Tyson Fury's in the crowd. And then they did the segment with Seth Rollins. He comes to the ring. It's to set up the match with Nakamura, but on the big screen, Bray Wyatt's Firefly Funhouse was on, and basically Bray simulated the Fiend's match with Seth with Ramblin' Rabbit and Mercy the Buzzard in a cage.
And the Mercy ate up the rabbit, who has died how many? At least 3 times, right?
I don't watch these segments often, so
I can count at least 3 deaths of the rabbit.
And then he looked at the camera and said that it's Seth's turn to hurt. Hogan and Flair were only on this show. They played Real American for like 3 seconds, and they showed Hogan going to sit with Flair, and that was literally
Flair and Otta Johnson and
Flair's
and
Wendy.
Wendy, yeah, that was it.
That was it for those guys.
Yeah. So it was like all those people, and like Kurt Angle was just shown in the crowd with Mick Foley, right? That was it. And
They both called each other Hall of Famers.
yeah, and then they had Lita Trish Stratus and Marie Menounos, and no Steve Austin whatsoever.
Yeah, and that's the thing is,
People were upset about that live, I heard.
it was really frustrating. I heard that people started wondering what was going on, and then they turned the lights on, and the announcer said that the show was over. Go home.
And then everybody chanted AEW.
I don't get that. And, it seems like Austin knows when to not be overexposed. And he's been on WWTV a lot. And knowing that Rock was going to be there.
Okay, but here's the thing. They didn't even announce Austin until, like 2 weeks ago? I mean, it was a late announcement. It wasn't like... So
It's not like Austin didn't do anything, but I think most people didn't see him because during the pre-show, there was maybe 3 minutes left until the SmackDown actually started. Austin was in a video package where he was talking about Lesnar and Kofi, and then at the end, someone threw him 2 beers. He clanked them together and drank them. And so I thought...
that wasn't in the building, though, was it?
No, it was a video package.
See, that's bad because people paid to see the Rock, Austin, and Brock Lesnar and Hogan and Flair, what they paid to see. And they really, I mean, they got The Rock, but I mean, you really didn't get Hogan and Flair. And, you did get Brock, and you didn't get Austin at all. So I can see where people, because the scalper prices went way up when Austin and Rock were announced. I mean, before, it wasn't even sold out until then. And then, became a big ticket because of those two.
So Seth and Nakamura kind of got started. Seth did his dives out. Nakamura started the match, getting an armbar, and then the lights went out. The Fiend comes out, and Seth is like every person who gets killed in a scary movie. He doesn't know what to do. Can't look behind him.
Wasn't he on the ramp by this point? Like they turned the lights out.
Yeah.
He's in the ring, so he had to run to the ramp so they could do the thing because they didn't do it in the ring.
And he gets the mandible claw on him and then throws him off the stage.
Yeah,
and that was the last we saw of Seth.
Yeah.
Kevin Owens and Shane McMahon.
They did a lot of stunts.
They worked pretty hard, and they took some crazy stuff. Like I felt a little bad for Shane because there was a moment in this match where they laid the ladder between the apron and the barricade, and so Kevin Owens came off the top for the frog splash, but there was no floor for Kevin Owens to kind of use his weight advantage against to protect Shane. So he had to take this thing full on.
Yeah,
and legit looked like he got the wind knocked out of him.
He looked really old.
Unless he was
no, but he looked really old. But he did that elbow off the top rope, and he did the coast to coast drop kick. I mean, he did what he can do.
Wearing some sweet Jordan 34s. And so normal ladder match. Near the end, Shane's climbing the ladder. Owens grabs him, power bombs him onto another ladder that was draped over the bottom rope. And then Owens grabbed the briefcase. So technically, according to storyline, Shane is fired.
Yeah.
It's not going to AEW.
He's not going to AEW or CML or the whatever group is being formed in Mexico.
NWA.
No, it'd be interesting. Sophia and Shane, the family outcasts, former promotion.
Yeah. We'll talk about her in a little bit.
Sophia? Yeah, I guess we will.
And so next match was Miz, Braun Strowman, and Heavy Machinery versus Randy, AJ, Bobby Roode, and Dolph Ziggler. And this whole thing was just set up for the Tyson Fury angle. I think Strowman knocked Brock into right where Fury was sitting as he was not looking, and so he kind of got knocked over. Made him mad. They had sized each other up before, sort of to see who was taller. Tyson looked an inch or two taller than Braun.
2 inches taller.
Yeah. Because I think they say Tyson is 6'9",
They say he's 6'9".
but I don't know if he's 6'9".
I don't know. I've never.
How tall's Braun?
I think they say Braun's 6'8". I think he was shorter than Aaron Judge though, and Aaron Judge is 6'6", right?
Yeah,
6'5" and 3/4. So, I mean, he's probably 6'6". You know,
so
6'5"
Tyson
and a
looked
half.
about 6'7".
I'd say 6'7" and a half. If Braun's 6'5" and a half, Tyson's 6'7" and a half. Yeah.
So Tyson was wearing this white suit, no shirt underneath, blazer just draped over his bare chest, standing out for sure as this gigantic human being, dressed in that way. And then he tried to hop the barricade, and immediately security grabbed him and they pulled him away. And Braun just was kind of smiling at him and waving at him, not really taking him seriously. But that looks to be something at least.
Something at some point.
I wonder.
Hey, look, they're getting a lot of stuff that's going to get them a lot of mainstream. I mean, that's the one thing that and look, they're in a war. It's good. It's good. I mean, that stuff. I mean, like, look at the last war. Look who turned the corner. It was Mike Tyson.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Tyson was the turn. You know, Mike Tyson made Austin a bigger star. I don't know that Tyson Fury is going to make Strowman a bigger star because Tyson Fury is not Mike Tyson.
No,
but and Kane's not going to make Brock a bigger star. But Kane and Brock is still a big use of Kane, and I think that as quickly as Kane's come along. And the fact that they'll script out every single move, and it's only going to be big move, because that's the Paul Heyman match, that it'll, I think that they'll, I don't know, it's weird because it's Saudi Arabia. I have no idea how it'll go because Saudi Arabia can be weird.
So you have these pay-per-view numbers. You have some insight into them. Do you have any insight into Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder versus people buying WWE pay-per-views?
I doubt the crossover's that big, but I don't because that was a ways back.
Yeah.
If it was recent, I would have it, but it wasn't that recent.
Yeah. And then we didn't have a whole lot of time.
Probably just you.
I got some texts. Some people were like, "Oh, the Gypsy King."
Yeah.
So Roman Reigns and Eric Rowan go into the ring. Daniel Bryan is out to do commentary. It's a lumberjack match. There wasn't a lot of time in the show left at this point, and they didn't really have a short match. It wasn't super long, but they didn't quickly go to the finish either. They went through a commercial break.
A 9-minute match.
Luke Harper comes out and starts beating up the lumberjacks. I think Rowan went for the claw. Let's see what happened here. Rowan went for the claw slam, and then Reigns got out of it by hitting him with a short elbow. Then that's when Harper jumped in the ring. Daniel Bryan saved him. Finally, Reigns Superman punch and spear, I believe, to win the match.
So Bryan, Harper comes in. Bryan gives him a running knee. Roman goes after Bryan, puts Bryan in the claw. Reigns spears him from that position and pins him.
Okay, yeah, you didn't hit him.
That's how they did it.
Okay, and so that leaves us with, I think when Kofi and Brock came into the ring, what was there, like 9 minutes left on the show?
When they came to the ring, so they would have had time for like a 7-minute match, but I knew they were going to do an angle at the end, so I figured, like, I didn't think they were doing 7 seconds, but I thought that they were going to go maybe 6 minutes, and then just one move, F5, and it was over. And
then Rey Mysterio's music starts to play. Brock kind of turns around, and he sees Cain Velasquez next to Rey. Cain comes out in a T-shirt and jeans. And then he took his shirt off, and he did not look impressive with his shirt off. I'm seeing a lot of feedback on that.
Well, he never had a good physique.
Yeah, he's not a physique guy.
No. I mean, even when he was in super shape in UFC, he never had a great physique. I mean, people are going like, he should lift weights. That's what he looks like when he lifts weights.
Yeah. I don't think it's a lifting weights thing.
That's just how he looks. And
might have kept the shirt on though. I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean, just obviously standing next to Brock, who's gigantic.
Yeah, but that's what he looked like next to Brock the last time, and he destroyed him. So it's kind of like, I don't know. Sometimes I think that's a backwards mentality because it's like, yeah, if you're judging it from the 80s, yeah, for sure. But today, when we've seen real fights, it's like, number one, we've seen Cain in real fights, and We've seen a million guys from real fights. Because I noticed when people will go, oh, the physique, and it's like, you know what? Like once you like, I mean, someone was like, I think it was someone on Twitter actually was something like, trying to do, the knocking of the AEW goes, oh, none of these guys look like they wouldn't win a real fight. And it's like, do you see Ruiz? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like Ruiz and Joshua. Come on. Once you see the Ruiz and Joshua, it's like, and granted that was not a giant match, but Kane and Brock was a giant match.
But I think the people who know Kane and know he's where he comes from, UFC fans, I'm sure they know what Kane looks like. But maybe to that new fan, he probably doesn't look as impressive until they tell that backstory.
Yeah, but they told the story that he beat Brock in the first round. And, I don't think people are I mean, there definitely was, for years and years and years, the physique thing. But I mean, nobody really, I think that like the new fans that have grown up with this generation, look, they buy Kevin Steen. He's got a worse physique than Kane. And they would buy Kevin Steen, you know what I mean? I mean, they would buy Kevin Steen even more if Vince didn't, who likes Kevin Steen, but still, they have that mentality of the physique. Nobody's got that mentality of the physique except for Vince. And I don't even think Triple H does so much. He probably does because he's got that thing. But so do I. And I don't even care about it anymore.
Yeah.
It's like, I think the old fans from the Hulk Hogan era, yes. I think that the younger fans, not. You grew up with all of these guys in UFC. Some of them have good physique, some of them don't. What's Connor look like? I mean, Connor's not fat or nothing.
Yeah,
and he's semi jacked, but he's does anyone not buy him? Floyd, who's got a nice physique, but still he's 147 pounds. And people, it's not like I don't know. I mean, yeah, he doesn't have a good physique, but he's never going to. And it's not like Kane's not one of the hardest training athletes that there is. I mean, I know that. I've seen Kane trains hard as fucking hell. That's why he has so many injuries.
Brock's facials,
very good,
really told the story.
And Paul as well. So they acted like they'd seen a ghost. They acted completely freaked out. Then Kane comes to the ring, takes him down, pounding on him. Brock runs away.
Tease is coming back,
leaves again. They really played up they played up who it is. And, it's what it is. It's a new guy. He's going to mean more against Brock than, I don't want to say Bill Goldberg did, because Bill Goldberg had a lot of, pro wrestling, whatever, but he's going to mean more than Seth Rollins would. He's going to mean more than Kofi Kingston would. So it's a Saudi Arabia show. It's bought and paid for by somebody else. It's not a bad move. And it's a story, and, maybe Kane even wins. Who knows? And they extend the storyline. In fact, that's probably the smart way to do it, is Kane wins the first and Brock wins the second, the whole Goldberg story, rather than do a one and done. Because they got nothing. What else do they got for Brock? Roman Reigns? That's it. He's beaten everybody else.
So what do you think about Cormier? Kane and him are really good friends, partners, training partners, teammates.
You go with two Kane matches, and then when he wins the second one, Cormier runs in, and then you go with Brock and Cormier. I absolutely could see that. And Brock and Cormier would be a real big match, because the one thing we know is that Cormier can cut a promo. And I don't know that Cormier would be a better pro wrestler than Kane, but I think that Cormier has enough moves that he could do with Brock, and I think Cormier would be just fine. Yeah, because I could absolutely see that. And then you got a whole year of Brock now. Mm-hmm. Into his next contract, Cormier gets a couple big paydays. But Cormier won't come until after the Stipe fight.
Yeah, he's got one more fight, which delays things.
Right. And that won't be that soon. That'll be early next year. But no, I would figure that Cormier's fight with Stipe is early next year. So by the time Mania comes, if Mania is the Kane fight, and then Cormier does the run in there, Cormier would be absolutely ready. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that would be, you could do that for next year's Mania, for the 2021 Mania.
So before we get to the ratings breakdown that was in the Observer, the other big story that was kind of out there today, which you had written about in the Observer, saying that Edge was looking to be cleared. There's talk of Edge now doing stuff like he's been gone for how many years now?
Yeah, a long time. Yeah, I mean, I heard he was trying to get cleared. I have not had it confirmed to me that he's cleared, but I do know that he told whatever it was. I don't know that he negotiated with AEW. I do know that WWE believes he negotiated with AEW. I think he probably did, but I don't know that. Like I said,
Why wouldn't you at this point?
why wouldn't you? Maybe you just tell WWE you did.
No, but I mean, that's the smart thing to do. Like, you have the the leverage finally.
Oh no! I mean, he should have, like everyone. Kane did too. Look, I know that Kane talked to AEW within the last couple, whatever it is, 7 days, 10 days. I don't know the exact last time they talked, but I know when they were talking, and it was, I mean, recent as hell.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, very, very, like really recent, because I know that Kane, went, or Kane's people went to AEW with like, this is what we got, and obviously it was a big number because AEW didn't match. So there you go. And I know that like AAA, so AAA shows off in Los Angeles.
Yep.
So his contract with AAA, I think, was exclusive through the third show. So when they canceled the third show, that made him able to do this angle tonight. But I think that they may have worked something out to do this angle, even if he was under contract with AAA for one more match. But
Mark Raimondi wrote that they don't actually have a contract done yet, but they were close to in negotiations, and UFC cleared him to do the show tonight.
Okay. Yeah. But they wouldn't have put that on TV
if they didn't think that it was really close.
If they're not going to do the match, they're not going to do that. They're not going to do that and not have the deal just to do it. Monday, when they did the thing with Ray, I know they didn't have the deal. They thought they were going to have the deal. So, but I remember, because I was specifically told, on the Monday thing that it was, that whole angle was set up for Kane to come in. And when they didn't know if Kane was coming in, it was like, well, this angle, even without Kane's a good angle, so we're not going to switch type of thing. We're not going to change it over. We don't need to. But Paul's interview at the end, I mean, that was I watched that interview. And it's like he's talking about Kane. Mm-hmm. Want to be tough guys in MMA. I mean, that was very clear. So they were pretty sure on Monday that they had him. Obviously, by doing this, even if the contract's not signed, they have to be pretty sure, because here's the thing now. If they're not sure and Kane shows up, Kane has no contract and he shows up this Wednesday on AEW, they look like absolute fools. So they have to have something. Think about it. And we know Kane's been talking to AEW. So it's not like you can just be like so naive to think he's not. Everyone in the world knows. So they have to have a deal. There's no way there's no way you can do this and then have him show up on AEW Wednesday. And if it was, I know that like Khan is not overspending. He's not Eric Bischoff. But if this was Eric Bischoff and there was no contract, Eric Bischoff would offer Kane millions to show up on Wednesday. I mean, that, because it's not his money, it's Ted's money. But he'd have done that because that's what that's. He didn't do it with Tyson because the money was so high, but he did it with Rodman and
the actual draft itself was horrible. Okay, I'll say that. I mean, it was so. It was like almost everyone went to the brand that they were with. I mean, there's a few exceptions: Randy Orton and Kevin Owens and Sasha Banks. I think were the big ones. But for the most part, it's like SmackDown is drafting Roman Reigns, and it's like, well, he's already been there, And it's and people didn't really react. It was Stephanie McMahon, which I think is for the better. Because if they had like guest celebrities do that stuff, I think that it would have just been terrible. So they had these guest celebrities that were just like useless, just like these cutaways with like Joe Buck and Troy Aikman, and I saw Brady Quinn there, and a bunch of other Terry Bradshaw and tons of others, you know. And I mean, it's like they're trying to mix these Fox personalities into SmackDown. And I mean, if it was like entertaining or good, you know, like in good skits or something, that'd be good. But it's just like they're doing it for the sake of doing it, not for the sake of like anything entertaining. Although I did get a kick out of when they asked like Terry Bradshaw and these other guys, like who their first round draft pick. They almost all picked guys that were dead.
They all did. Well, not dead, but
No,
like it was
somebody picked
everybody. It was everybody from like the 70s, 80s, or early 90s.
I know. One of the things that WWE, like, and I mean the Fox thing too, is like so much of the promotion of WWE is like telling you that like we used to be so cool. Don't you think? Like even in those commercials where it's like 80%, 90% of like, you know, The Rock and Stone Cold and you know what I mean? It's like we used to be so cool. And it's like I'm not sure you know, like promoting based on history. I mean, the WWE's history is cool, but it's like promoting so much based on history rather than current. I don't know. You know, I mean, I guess it's effective because people, the average person. But I mean, it's like to the average person, like those names that they were talking about, Ric Flair. You know, well, somebody said Hulk Hogan, so they weren't all dead. And Ric Flair's not dead, thank God. But Dusty, they did say. But they're all pretty much retired except for Undertaker. But you know, like talking about these different people who somebody picked Bruno. It's you know, those names are like more famous than the current names to the current fans, which is kind of, you know, it's like whenever we need a rating, we bring back Bill Goldberg, you know, who Vince didn't even like when he was in his prime, you know, but they're bigger stars than, you know, I mean, if Sting could still go, they'd be bringing Sting back, you know, it's like, but yeah, that's another issue. But, yeah, Stephanie would just read out names, the crowd, like, they would play the music. No one came out. People were expecting them to come out. Nobody came out. The crowd only reacted to a couple of names, and they were names that would surprise you. Like, I mean, they pretty much like Roman Reigns. Seth. I don't think Seth's going to be drafted, but on Monday, I think. But Roman Reigns and Becky Lynch. Like when they announced Becky Lynch first, it's like Becky Lynch is drafted by Raw, and it was like there was a little reaction. I mean, there was a little bit. Roman Reigns, there was like pretty much not much. Bray Wyatt being drafted to SmackDown was a big reaction. But then Bray Wyatt is like shooting this angle with Seth. And is Seth now going to SmackDown too? Because then who does Raw have?
Highly doubt it.
What?
I highly doubt it. Unless they change the title.
He shot another angle with Seth again today.
I know, it was bizarre. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about the big issues with this draft. So, a couple of days ago, WWE put this deal up on WWE.com. The preliminary draft pools for SmackDown and Raw. Let me read the SmackDown preliminary draft pool. Are you ready?
I know this. Go ahead. Yeah. Well, why not?
Becky Lynch, Roman Reigns, OC, Bray Wyatt, Drew McIntyre, Randy Orton, Sasha Banks, Ricochet, Braun Strowman, Lashley, Alexa Nikki, Lacey Evans, the Viking Raiders, the Revival, Natalya, Street Profits, and the Lucha House Party. Notice anything?
So aside from the fact that they drafted Becky, I mean, Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross separately, that was pretty. Is there any other change?
What you're not noticing here, Dave, is the list that they gave 3 days ago.
Order, I know,
is the exact order that they were drafted.
There were one or two exceptions, but it was pretty much the
yeah. Because I think they figured out at Braun Strowman, oh my God, like this is the same list that was on WWE.com, so they mixed it up slightly, and then in mixing it up slightly, this is what happened. So they announced that a team counts as one pick. Okay, so like the OC. 3 men, AJ Styles, Luke Gallows, and Carl Anderson, that was one pick.
Right.
So then Raw drafts Alexa Bliss alone.
Yeah.
And then, shortly thereafter, they draft Nikki Cross.
Yeah, but they were originally probably hooked together because in that list they were hooked together.
Yes, my point is, like, in storyline, why would you draft one of them singly and then the other singly and waste two picks when the rules are that you could draft them together for one pick? How hard is this?
Look. There's this. I don't know what to say. I mean, because I got like no answers. I mean, I don't even know why you publicize this draft, and it's almost exactly alike. Because even like with they go like Raw picks Drew McIntyre, and they tried to act like that was like a SmackDown guy, but he was a Raw guy who just was on SmackDown a lot because they kept putting him with Roman Reigns. So it's like it was like, I mean, like again, of all the people who switched, Randy Orton, right? Kevin Owens.
Dude, I don't even know who's on what brand because of this wild card deal.
Well, the wild card's done.
Well, I know, but because they did the wild card, it's like everybody is on every show. I don't even remember who was supposed to be on what show.
Well, pretty much every, I mean, there were very few changes. Sasha Banks, I think that when they announced Sasha Banks to SmackDown, that did get a reaction. Not the biggest. Kevin Owens got a big reaction. Kevin Owens actually got when he wrestled tonight, Kevin Owens got a real big reaction. That was not on the show though. But so go through.
All right,
so everyone knows.
Let's
like,
go over this.
on what brand.
We'll go over this whole show here.
Okay.
All right, so this is the SmackDown show, and
so we open. So here's the thing: we open. Okay, so now again, I'm in the arena, so I don't hear any commentary. But I can tell you this, and maybe I don't know if this was explained or not. So Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins are wrestling for the number one pick, right?
Yes.
Okay. In the building, they never said that. So they're just wrestling. I know it was announced several days ago that there were, actually maybe only a day or two ago, but so they announced Seth and Roman Reigns in the building. Most of the people had no idea that this match was happening, which again kind of tells you, I don't know about releasing stuff on the internet, or whatever, but I mean I know that the people who were around, like, they had no idea they were coming out first. They didn't pop that big for the guys, but they were very confused. Why would Seth Rollins be wrestling Roman Reigns? There was like no explanation. Then I know why they're doing this. Then they do this finish where Bray Wyatt comes from under the ring and he pulls Seth Rollins under the ring. And then Stephanie McMahon comes out and Raw gets the first pick. So I guess you could say that Roman.
Well, let me explain all this to you because I watched it with commentary. So they do this match
but nothing's announced. Like,
no,
to the fans in the building.
Well, to us, we know that the winner. They tell us that the winner is getting the first draft pick. Because Roman is SmackDown, Seth is Raw. So Seth goes for this curb stomp. The lights go out. The Fiend comes out from under the ring. He yanks Seth into the ring. Roman Reigns vanishes.
Under the ring. He pulls him under the ring.
Well, he pulls him through the hole. So he pulls him into the ring. Roman vanishes. Seth comes out of the hole.
I know Roman like just disappeared off the face of the earth.
Yep, the Fiend appears on the stage. The lights go out again. He laughs, and they go to commercial. When they return, Michael Cole explains to us that Seth Rollins won via DQ.
Okay.
And so SmackDown will get the first pick.
No, Raw got the first pick.
Raw got the first pick.
Yeah, Seth's the Raw guy for now.
Seth is the Raw guy, yeah. All right, so anyway, a couple of other things they told us on commentary. So I could have sworn this afternoon when they did the press conference that Brock Lesnar, Cain Velasquez was like a non-title match. Am I wrong about that?
They never brought up the championship one way or the other. I never heard the word non-title. I never heard the word title.
Okay, well, on this show, Michael Cole said it's a title match. So there you go. They also...
that's so weird because it's like they had the press conference and they never said it and nobody talked about the title whatsoever. And, we were talking to all those people and it's like they never brought up the title. I didn't even think to ask because I just figured it was non-title. You know what I mean?
Well, I had people telling me this afternoon it was non-title. I don't know if they ever officially announced that or if people just assumed
I never heard
that.
anyone say non-title. I just assumed it because nobody's brought up the championship. And when I was talking to people, I didn't even bother to ask because I just figured, if it was for the title, they would tell us, right?
It is
I was at the frickin' press conference and talked to everybody.
It is a title match.
Nobody brought up the championship once in front of me. I can tell you that.
Well, it's a championship match now.
Okay.
So they also announced,
but Paul pretty much said it's not a, it's not a
No.
spoiler.
We'll get to that in a moment. He actually didn't say that. So
He said that twice, at least twice today.
they also alerted us this will be the last time that we potentially ever see these men wrestle. That's when I was ready to turn the show off, by the way.
What? Whoa. Brock and Kane are only going to do one match?
No,
That's the
Roman
idea?
Reigns and Seth Rollins.
Oh, but they'll wrestle again.
I know. They said this throughout the show, all of these matches. This may be the last time we see these people wrestle.
Because of switching, but they're not on the same brand anyway. So what?
Well, I'm sure they won't
And
be
besides,
after Friday.
they're gonna draft next year and whatever. I mean, obviously Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins will have another match at some point, unless somebody gets a career-ending injury or something.
So Steph came out and begged for boos. She got a courtesy boo. Headed to Raw, Becky Lynch. Headed to SmackDown, Roman Reigns. Headed to Raw, the OC, all three of them. Headed to SmackDown, Bray Wyatt. Headed to Raw, Drew McIntyre. They have this goofy.
So Bray got. I remember Bray got Bray got a big reaction, and he was the only one of the five that got any reaction of any note.
They have this goofy War Room footage of the Fox people celebrating they got Roman Reigns. Apparently, they don't care about anybody else, but they were very excited. Then we go to Joe, Renee, Booker, and Beth Phoenix to get their thoughts. They have no thoughts. King Corbin and Shorty Gable, which is his name.
So I'm in the building. I can tell you about Shorty Gable, and it is everything that you think. I mean, the people, when they saw that name, you just see, they think this guy is like this job guy. I mean, it's like the reaction to the name, the reaction to him. If people think that this stuff, it's like people do know him. But I tell you what, like that match got no heat. When Baron Corbin came out, Baron Corbin got a good reaction. I mean, as far as heat. Chad, not so much. But once that match started, nothing the whole match. I mean, I was like, they're in the middle of a feud, and it's been focused on, and this is like, this crowd is completely dead. I mean, even with Rollins and Roman, I thought that in the building, like it was, the people didn't know why they were wrestling, and they didn't really know how to react. But by the end, the near falls got what I would call a good react. I mean, this was not a strong reacting crowd at all. But Rollins and Reigns, there were people biting on the false finishes, and it was until that weird ending. I mean, it was good. I wouldn't call it a great match, but I mean, it was okay. I mean, it was good. But the Corbin and Gable match, which I think like as a match, it wasn't bad at all. It was, the crowd was just dead, and some of it was the Shorty thing. Now, there were a few little kids laughing about Shorty that you know what I mean, and very few. And there was also the front rows opposite the hard camera. There were Shorty chants, but it didn't pick up in the building at all. I don't know if they were even audible on television. I thought it was kind of audible in the building, but it really wasn't many people doing it. But like the people around me were just like, they were so, between the name and just the idea, they just, I couldn't believe how little respect they had for Chad. And then he goes out there and he does like a lot of really cool stuff, but it's just not, it just wasn't work. The name is a freaking killer. But it's funny, and even after the show, everyone's saying that, like, God, that name is just terrible. And we all know that like Vince is sitting there laughing about it, because he just thinks that like it's this great idea because he's short.
So he puts on the ankle lock. Corbin fights free and just hits the end of days and pins him. That's the end of the match.
I know, what a finish, huh?
Whole presentation of this just sucked. We had the Fox.
So again, I don't know who's going where, but Vince does like to beat people like that will that he's going to move to the other show. And I thought when this is over that it felt like Baron Corbin might go to SmackDown, but I shouldn't even guess that. But I guess the one that I really sensed was which is weird. Because she's done nothing but promotion for SmackDown for 6 months, is Charlotte Flair. Because of the way she lost, I thought that she might be going to Raw. And I know Heyman's like a huge Charlotte Flair fan, so that makes sense. But it's like she's been doing nothing but promotion on Fox for so long, and then they start and then they move her. But if she was staying, she could have lost, but would she have lost that way?
So we've got the, where am I here?
The OC and the New Day match? Is that where you're at? Or there's some more draft picks first.
Let's see. Oh, the NFL crew came out. Then, yes, Steph is back. And heading to Raw is Randy Orton. Heading to SmackDown, Sasha Banks. Heading to Raw, Ricochet. SmackDown, Baron Corbin. Raw, Bobby Lashley. The Raw War Room, all excited about Randy Orton. Okay,
so Baron Corbin winning on SmackDown. So I'm pretty sure that Chad's probably going to go to Raw. I shouldn't say that because God only knows. That doesn't, the rules of the past aren't necessarily whatever. But so Chad Gable, whatever. Okay.
Clips of the Strowman versus Tyson Fury feud, and then Brock and Heyman come out. Paul says, "I'm here to educate you. Normal human being cowers from their fears, but Lesnar fears one thing. October 23rd, 2010, when Kane victimized him and took his title. An unheard of first-round TKO, he says. And Brock has never offered an excuse because he has no excuse. That's the kind of fighter Kane truly is. Last week, he won the WWE title in 7 seconds, and Ray comes out and forces him to confront the ghost and his fear of his past. But he embraces his fear. He conquers his fear. And on October 31st, he will conquer Cain Velasquez." Paul then said, "That is not a prediction." And before he could finish, out came Ray and Kane. He never actually said it was a spoiler, just for the record.
He said it at least twice today that it was a spoiler.
Well, he didn't say it on the show. Ray has footage.
At the press conference, and he said it another time. Yeah.
We have clips from UFC 121. Kane takes the mic, says, "I'll beat you again," says something in Spanish. Ray translates. Kane will give Brock a matching scar on the other side of his face.
I like that line. I really like that line. It was pretty good. They're doing the best they can with the deal.
That is exactly what I wrote word for word. They are doing the best they can.
Yeah, with what they got there. They put in the UFC stuff, which was very graphic. For it's 9 years ago, and not everyone in that's watching WWE knows that story. And even the ones who kind of might vaguely know this, like hammered at home, that Brock got his ass kicked. They're really pushing, and they have to. They signed the guy because Kane needs help. I mean, Kane may do really well in the match itself, but as I said before, it's like he's very weak. Really weak at promotion, interviews. It's going to be he's going to need help there, and luckily he's got Ray. Ray's done a great job so far.
So next up we had the New Day versus, actually first the New Day came out, and they're doing this segment with Samantha and Sarah, breast cancer survivors, presenting them with pink WWE women's belts. Xavier does a nice speech, and then it's New Day versus OC and Kofi Kingston, who lost the world title in 7 seconds last week.
Just throwing pancakes like nothing ever happened.
Not one promo, nothing. He's throwing pancakes.
Like nothing ever happened.
Happy as can be.
Yep.
So they come out, and most of this match is during commercial. They come back, and Kofi's come back on AJ.
The match wasn't too bad. It was. The crowd didn't react much to it, but I actually liked the finish. The last couple of moves and everything, it was really, with AJ and Kofi, the last minute or two, they were really good.
AJ goes for the Styles Clash. Kingston avoids it. AJ tries for the Ishigoroshi. Kofi hits the kick out of nowhere, gets the pin. On TV, a nothing match. I'm sure much better in the building.
It wasn't too bad. I mean, but again, it wasn't like, like the New Day's ring entrance was over. But once the match started, not much. I mean, even when Big E made his big comeback, and then everybody at the end starts doing their moves, it just wasn't that hot at all.
Stephanie's back. Headed to Raw, Alexa Bliss. The Fox War Room is angry. They're throwing things around that they lost Alexa. Headed to SmackDown, Lacey Evans. Headed to Raw.
That was a change.
What was that?
So that was a change. So that explains why Lacey Evans lost those 2 matches to Natalya, because like I said, Vince will beat people, on the way, because the idea is that you're leaving the territory and you're going to a new territory. When you leave the territory, you do jobs on the way out. So that's why Lacey did those 2 losses to Natalya.
Headed to Raw, Kevin Owens. Stephanie laughingly notes that he fired her brother. And then we move on. Headed to SmackDown is the Revival. Headed to Raw is Natalya. The War Room, very excited about Natalya.
By the way, Owens got a big reaction for whatever reason. And he, like I said, and also later in the show, when he did the dark match, he got a real big reaction.
Steph comes out again. Headed to Raw is the Viking Raiders. Headed to SmackDown, Lucha House Party. I love the Luchas, says Michael Cole. Headed to Raw, Nikki Cross. Headed to SmackDown, Heavy Machinery. The Fox War Room is excited. And heading to Raw is the Street Profits. So yes, Raw drafted Alexa, and then they drafted Nikki. They wasted a pick. Way to go.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then Charlotte versus Bayley.
So who was the key change there? Lucha House Party, right?
I guess. If they were on Raw, they're on SmackDown now.
Yeah. It's just whatever. Why would you even pick them?
Because that's the same show that 205 Live is on, so guess they can do that show afterwards.
Are they still on 205 Live?
I don't know.
Because on 205 Live they had a graphic, and I read the graphic as to say, it said Lucha House Party is now on SmackDown. So I got the impression that was writing Lucha House Party off 205 Live.
Wow. Well, I don't know why they drafted them if they're going to be there same night.
Yeah.
So then Charlotte and Bayley for the title. Bayley comes out. She has turned from heel to heel. This week she comes out. She takes off her hood. She's cut all her hair off. She gets a stick out. She destroys the dancing inflatables. Gets a brief pop. And she goes down to the ring. And they have a match. And Charlotte takes 85% of this match. And finally, Bayley goes up top, hits the flying elbow. Charlotte kicks out. Bayley starts screaming at the ref.
Did she bust her up? Did she bust her up with the elbow?
No, she was busted up earlier. I don't know what happened, but Charlotte was bleeding from the face.
Charlotte with blood coming everywhere.
She was bleeding long before she did the moonsault off the barricade, so it was very early on. So she starts screaming that it was a 3. The ref says it was a 2. Charlotte comes in from behind. It's a natural selection. Goes for the figure 4. Bayley just pulls her into the hair, cradles her for the small package and the pin. She is the new champion, which, by the way, suggests, yes, that Charlotte is going to Raw. Took the belt off her. And that was the match. And then Bayley cuts a promo saying, "Hey, bitches, screw all of you." She walks off, and that was the show. What a letdown.
I would say Bayley and Charlotte, when they kicked out of the finishers, the people were up for that. But not really, for what it was, not much heat on that match either. I thought the match was good. Everyone reacted to Bayley's, new hair. That was a big, big thing. I think that when they changed her look and killed those inflatable things, that she kind of, as soon as they did that, I thought she kind of has to win this match, I think. So she did. So it's interesting because her and Sasha are on the same show, and I wonder if they're going to end up, because if Charlotte goes to the other show, then her and Sasha are going to be the top 2 on that show, I think, right? Who else will, I don't know what's, well, I guess it depends on where Asuka line shows up, and Kyrie. So they could wind up on Raw, maybe, right? I don't know.
Dude, after this draft show, I could not possibly care less about predicting this draft.
Yeah, I know. I'm still interested just because it's, I'm just, the other thing that I'm interested in is how many weeks before they, because like last one wasn't like 2 or 3 weeks before they started switching.
Dude, I don't even remember.
It was just a couple weeks. This one, the idea is they're not going to do it, and they're really trying to say that they really want competition. They want that was like the big thing that they really want. They've been telling the guys, we want real competition. Like you're competing on who's going to draw the biggest gates and who's going to draw the biggest ratings. Although Smackdown is going to draw the biggest ratings, I think that's obvious just because it's got more.
Dude, after this show, after last week when they had that huge audience and this was their follow up.
Yeah, you know what though? Actually, because. Okay, they'll draw. SmackDown will draw the bigger audience. It's not a lock that they will draw the bigger rating because the rating is out of 120 instead of out of 90. 120 million instead of out of 90. And if you do that, they did a 2.4. I don't know if Raw will ever get to it, but they're not going to. But I'm thinking they're probably going to get to like a. If they did a 2.4 for that show, don't you think they'll level off at a 1.8 or something probably. So you could really see, the one thing that was very noticeable to me is Fox is really, really into this. They're putting their like the faces of their sports department all over the show. And obviously promoting it really, really hard, but it is,
it's just so weird because, like, you're putting all these people over the show. You're trying to attract a different audience. You're trying to get sports fans watching. I watched this first match, and some dude in a mask comes out from a hole in the ring, and he pulls a guy into the ring, and smoke comes out of the hole.
Over.
Yeah, it's over for the wrestling fans in the crowd. It's over for the fans in the crowd. But if you're a normal person switching channels and you hear about this WWE wrestling and you see a dude in a Halloween mask pull a guy into the ring and no finish in this match, like really, that's going to attract new fans?
Maybe I'm not. I'm a fan of Bray Wyatt. Other than that last,
I am too because I'm a wrestling fan.
Match.
I'm a wrestling fan.
I think Bray Wyatt is a great new character that people are intrigued by.
Dave, hold on a second. I think that we're on a different page here.
I don't think that was necessarily. It was. It's been done before. It's not like it's creative.
Dave, hold on a second.
Before, but it doesn't. I don't know because I've seen it before that the pulling the guy under and everything. Now, if they pull him under and then he ends up on Raw and then Bray Wyatt ends up on SmackDown and they never wrestle again. Yeah, I kind of have issues with that at that point. Yeah,
Dave, listen,
it makes no sense.
We're on two different pages here. Listen to me. My father-in-law is a huge sports fan. He does baseball fantasy drafts. He's super into football. He's a huge stats guy. He's got all of his pages on the internet. He's constantly on his iPad. If he heard about WWE and he turns on SmackDown to see what it's all about, and some dude in a mask comes out from under the ring in the middle of a match and pulls a guy into the hole, and smoke comes out, and then the screen goes black and the clown is laughing, and they go to commercial and we don't even have a winner, he will never watch the show again. That's the point I'm making. How is this attracting new fans?
I don't know. I think Bray Wyatt's a character that's going to... I don't want to say attract new fans, but all I know is that Bray Wyatt is one of the hottest characters that they have, even after that.
Yes, among the wrestling fans that are watching Raw, that have been watching this kind of thing because they're over 50 for their whole adult lives. Yes, they've seen guys pulled into the ring. They accept that. But we're trying to make new viewers on Fox.
I think to kids, he's going to be one of the better characters they have, and I grant that's a low bar, but I think he's going to be one of the better ones there too. But whatever, I got no negatives on Bray other than obviously I have no idea what's going to happen when he's in a match because the first time he was in a match, it was a disaster of a presentation.
All right, take us through these Wednesday ratings.
Okay, well, first, so they did 205 Live after, and actually I should get it. There was a bunch of other stuff on the show, actually. 205 Live was better than SmackDown. And not only that, most people stayed. There were people who left, but I would say probably 85%. And it was not for Friday night, I mean, it is Las Vegas. Las Vegas is a unique market. I was kind of told what the advance was, and I was told that, 7,000 to 8,000, and that's where, I would say 7,500 were in the building. I think like Friday night, new SmackDown, you kind of want better, but Vegas is a weird town. It's never been a good wrestling city. So I guess that's okay, because I'm thinking like, it was hard for them to draw on Tuesdays. A lot of the cities weren't drawing well, but on a Friday, people are going to go out. So, okay. So anyway, people stayed. It was, Tony Nese and, Drew Gulak against Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch. And this was a good match. And it ended up getting a pretty decent reaction. I mean, like, I was expecting, like, after the dead SmackDown crowd, I was figuring that, like, this is 205 Live, everyone's going to leave because in Vegas there's so much to do. They're not going to sit here for this. And the people stayed. And then they reacted to this. And Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch won. Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch are a really good team, too. I mean, that's the other thing watching them live. They're very good. Then it was a squash match with Arya Daivari. I don't even know if they mentioned his name they never mentioned his name in the building. It was just a quick match, nothing match. Then Akira Tozawa and Brian Kendrick, which had the most heat of any actual match on the show. They did I guess it was a no DQ match. So here's the heat. The heat's weird. So they go in there and they start using kendo sticks. So then the crowd decides that they wanted tables. So they just chant, "We want tables, we want tables." They're not really, like, caring about the match, but they're chanting really loud. So then, I think it was Brian Kendrick. It was Brian Kendrick. He goes under the ring, and they get all excited. And he pulls out a ton of chairs. He's throwing chairs in the ring. And they're booing because they want him to get a frickin' table, and he's throwing chairs. And they're really mad. And this is getting, like, really, like, heat, like, honest to God. Then Akira Tozawa pulls out a table, by far the biggest pop of the entire night. By far. For frickin' pulling out a table, because when they were throwing the chairs, they're just really getting mad with these, "We want tables, we want tables." So Tozawa pulls out a table. The match goes on, and then Mike Kanellis interferes, and he lays out Tozawa and puts Brian Kendrick on top. So Brian Kendrick wins, and the show goes off the air. So then they announce that Kevin Owens... So Randy Orton may be going babyface, or at least this was a test, because they announced Randy Orton and Kevin Owens as the main event. So they both come out. Before the match ever starts, Gulak and Nese come out, and Gulak just cuts a promo. And then Daivari attacks him from behind. So it's like 3-on-2. And it's Daivari and, Gulak and Nese against Randy Orton and Kevin Steen, who are now, instead of opponents, they're buddies. So who's going down here. You can see this thing being, real obvious. And then Mike Kanellis shows up. So you even know even more. Okay, he's really taking it. So, Owens and Orton as baby faces cleaned house. And then Owens gave, I think it was Tony Nese, a stunner. I'm doing this from memory because they would not allow me to bring my computer in to the building, believe it or not. Can you believe this? They would not. So anyway, then they end up, all three of those guys are gone except for Mike Kanellis. So he's left in the ring. And Kevin Owens gives him a stunner. And everyone's waiting for the RKO. And he's like wobbling around. And, he's doing a pretty good job. And then Kevin Owens, instead of throwing him into the RKO, he huffs and he puffs and he blows. He blows wind and Mike Kanellis flies into the RKO. I've now seen everything. The wind of Kevin Owens knocking them into the freaking RKO. But the people liked it, and then it was over, and everyone's going like, weren't they supposed to have a match? And then Greg Hamilton is like, the show's over, guys. You know, and no one was unhappy. I mean, I didn't see people leaving mad at all, but it was just kind of like, weren't they supposed to have a match? So, and that the Kevin Owens Randy Orton thing, like they got a great reaction coming out, more than any of the guys on SmackDown. So it was a late reacting crowd. They didn't react to the stuff early; they reacted to the stuff late. I don't know. I guess the stuff early wasn't good enough or something.
Sounds like the stuff later was better, so that would explain the reactions.
Yeah, well, the matches on 205 Live were better. At least, I mean, Tozawa and Kendrick was good. You know, it was a good match. But the tag was a fun match. You know, it was well done. The tag was a well done match. The other thing, and again, I have not, because I've been running around here doing stuff. But what's going on in Japan? Because I know, like the one show, I don't even know if it's happening right now. I mean, it should be going on right now on TNT.
On TNT?
Yeah, One Fighting Championships on TNT. They were advertising it all through AEW.
I don't know.
Yeah, Kenny Omega's doing promos. Do you see any of the Kenny Omega commercials for one?
No.
He does there's one of the commercials where he says he's trying to compare AEW guys with One guys, and Eddie. First it was Michael Chiavello, who he compared to Jim Ross, which was obvious. And then it's like, who's Eddie Alvarez like in AEW? And he says John Moxley, which is funny because I thought, got to be John Moxley. And then he goes Demetrius Johnson, and he starts talking about like he's the best wrestler in the world. So I thought Kenny Omega was going to say Kenny Omega, but instead he said Pac, which is actually funny because Demetrius Johnson, of course, is Mighty Mouse, and as many people know, Vince McMahon wanted Pac at one point to be Mighty Mouse. He also wanted Henry Cejudo to be Mighty Mouse at one point too, but Henry Cejudo decided to go to UFC instead. So yeah, but anyway, yeah, there's that. There's a big typhoon going on.
Well,
there.
According to this right here, the pre-show is on right now.
So they didn't cancel. Because all of, I think the mass transit, I think they said was going to be shut down till Monday. Now Monday is the King of Pro Wrestling show, but I was, you know, it has not been canceled. Nothing's been said, but I know from people in Japan that they may have to evacuate. I mean, it's bad, and I heard that, like, you know, it's definitely, you know, there things could happen. I mean, it's supposed to be a real bad deal, so. Hopefully everyone's okay. Hopefully it doesn't get too bad, but that's a big thing. So, yeah, because I had heard today, like people didn't know how they would even be able to do a one show in this weather. But you know,
any comments whatsoever on the Smackdown show
right now?
A totally nothing happening show on Fox.
Yeah, actually. So Roman Reigns is going to work a program with Baron Corbin. And it's kind of like,
dear God,
after all
this
of this,
is the plan.
After all this, I mean, that's what I was thinking when I saw it. It's like, after all this, we're going to Roman Reigns and King Corbin. And Chad Gable is now Shorty G with this just fucking, I watched that thing freaking die in Las Vegas, but you know, it doesn't matter because they're going to do what they're going to do. I don't want to get into that thing. And you know, he may even make it work to a degree. But, you know, so he's going to be a second match wrestler that people chant Shorty at. Maybe, you know, it's essentially the Jason Jordan thing. It's like they're more in the spotlight, but it's a death gimmick. And it is a death gimmick, you know, so that's not good. Daniel Bryan looks like he's going to work for the Intercontinental title with Nakamura. Both those guys want it real bad. I think that that will probably be the best that we're going to get out of Nakamura. So actually, I think that'll be pretty good. Kofi Kingston, just like that whole loss and losing the championship and not getting a rematch, just not even concerning, you know. He
doesn't care.
Doesn't care. Nothing. It was an 8-man comedy tag match with, you know, the guy, Otis pouring the the pancake batter with protein powder on it, and then they did a match, which was, a nice match. It was Ziggler, Rude, and the Revival against Heavy Machinery and New Day. So we're back to a New Day Revival, which we've done before, but, it's a good match, so no complaints there. The 6-way, so Nikki Cross is going to be the opponent for Bayley. I don't know when this will take place, probably on television. And it was just there. And then main event, Roman Reigns, Daniel Bryan against Nakamura and Corbin, with Daniel Bryan pinning Nakamura with the Kinshasa. 8-minute match, it was fine. It was all right. Yeah, it's the same show. I don't know what they expect to do to change things, but it's the same show.
I was just flabbergasted. I mean, week 1, we had a show built around people who are already not even on the show anymore. Week 2 was a horrific draft. And week 3 was SmackDown on USA B show. I'm like, this is the plan for SmackDown moving to Fox? This is what's going to kick off this alleged boom period?
Well, and here's the other thing, too. It's like, with the, Brock's not going to be there every week, although he will be there this coming Friday. But that's because it's like the go-home show for...
yeah, look at all the stuff they're doing this Friday. Brock is there, Hulk Hogan is there, Flair's there. It's a show on FS1.
Yeah, but it's the crown jewel.
I know, that's the point. Like, they're so...
But you take those
It's all about making money in Saudi Arabia. They'll throw away anything. They'll throw away appearances by Brock and Flair and Hogan, all on FS1 because they need to make this money in Saudi Arabia.
Yes. Okay, but the thing is like this show that we saw on Friday, this is kind of the example of what it is. It's like I'm looking at this and I'm going like, this is not what I expect. I expected some changes. I didn't know what the changes were, but I expected some changes and some, shooting some guys to the top.
Dave, for years, there's been this, that, nothing ever changes.
I know. It's I know. You would think that like with somebody else running that it might like motivate them, but it's like
their changes are always like, we're going to bring back Pyro. We're going to have a new open.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean
we're
shit.
Going to put up some weird posts. I know, that's my point. Like, that's what they come up with for doing something different. But the show itself is always the same.
And it's the same characters. It's like if we were introducing like some new people in key roles, you know what I mean? Like and freshen up the matchmaking.
Yes, we saw that in January with the NXT guys. And what happened? It ended up being the same show.
Yeah, I know. And let's see, of those people, Lacey
then
Evans
they did it again. Then they did a superstar shakeup. Then they did everything. It's the same show.
Well, remember when so we had Gargano and Ciampa, who were both hurt and who they probably wouldn't have done anything with if they weren't hurt. We had Lacey Evans, who was overpushed, and now she's just someone on SmackDown. We had EC3, who had one bad match with Dean Ambrose, and they just dropped him completely. And then we had Lars, who blew out his knee. And then who else did we have with, and that crew of people who came up?
Ricochet's
there. Okay. He's there. I'm waiting for him to explode, but he does the same
That ain't going to happen. You kidding me?
I know it ain't going to happen. But, every time.
Well, let's talk about Kofi.
He threatens to, then there's Kofi Kingston.
This SmackDown show was like the highs and lows.
I liked SmackDown a lot, aside from that tag team thing where, that made so, like, the lack of sense there was, like, beyond, like, anything I've ever seen, practically.
Well, when the show was over, I also thought that I really liked the show, but in looking back, it was really just, like, the last 45 minutes of the show had some really good stuff, but the first part of the show did not have a lot of good stuff, including...
the Flair and Hogan thing is the Flair and Hogan. Everyone's going to like the Flair and Hogan thing, and then the main event was a really good match. And, the Lesnar thing with Kane was good. I would say the rest of it, in the match with Ziggler and Rude against the New Day, I mean, it was a short 5-minute match, but it was hard hitting and everything. It was just ridiculous. Like the booking defied logic.
They announced that the New Day is getting a tag team title match next Friday. They then proceed to do a New Day tag team match, and Kofi Kingston gets pinned in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I was like, if you're a hardcore WWE fan, I'm sure you can find some sort of explanation or why you thought this was good. But the reality is,
no, you can't.
I could not possibly care less about this tag title match now.
It has nothing to do with that. It's like, okay,
it does for me.
No, but here's the thing. Okay, well, no, but you can't even there's no way to justify it. Even though, so the thing is like when they announced so the match is going on and it's New Day and Rude and Ziggler. And they go, the New Day's getting a shot at the Revival next week. And it's like, all I could think of is like, why don't you announce that this is a match where the winners get the title shot and then the New Day wins? And that makes sense. Why are you announcing it before they win? And then they lose. So, I mean, obviously they're going to do some storyline where Rude and Ziggler complain and say that we deserve the shot because we won. But it's like, but then they're right.
Yes, the heels will be right in that case.
So it's like
maybe they'll add them to the match, and then they can go, "Oh, see, we had a plan the whole time."
I guess.
But then it's like we had a stupid plan because they should just replace the New Day because they beat the New Day. Why would this be a three-way? Why do Kofi and Biggie deserve a title match? They just lost to Rude and Dolph.
They just lost, and it was relatively
in
clean,
5 minutes, clean.
Yeah. No, there was no answer to that one. That's for sure.
It was totally clean. Yeah. Kingston knocked Rude out of the ring and then just got rolled up and pinned.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And we had, I guess, the main event was very good. It was Roman Reigns, Ali, Shorty G beating Nakamura, Corbin, and Cesaro.
Okay. That Shorty G outfit, it's like, come on, guys. It's like, it's just ridiculous. And this is the other thing that's so stupid. They're doing this whole thing with Shorty G, right? And he's standing next to Ali, who's the same height as him.
And Daniel Bryan.
Well, he wasn't standing with Daniel Bryan.
He was in the ring. I guess that was earlier. Yeah.
No, he wasn't with Daniel Bryan. I mean,
when Daniel Bryan was out earlier, yeah, they're basically the same size.
I mean, they probably are, but I mean, the point is that he's standing there and he's dressed. They dress him like a reject from 12-year-old basketball uniform thing. It's like the guy's got this great physique, so we're going to cover him up, and he's doing this thing, and I guess they brainwashed this guy into actually thinking this is a good gimmick because he went and he's doing interviews and it's like, oh, I'm embracing who I am, and it's like, this is the stupidest. This is like. It's the stupidest. And aside from the fact that I was in the building when they did this thing and I know the reaction of the people and it was 98% negative and they're still doing it. And he comes out and he's not getting any great pop. Now he did get big cheers in the match as the match was going on because he's a freaking incredible wrestler. And he's so great and he's being hindered with this absolutely second match gimmick.
Yeah, but you know what? Those pops that he got in the match, if Chad Gable's listening right now, I want him to go back and watch his matches in the King of the Ring when he was Chad Gable and they hadn't done a thing with him. And he was more over in 2 of those matches in that King of the Ring tournament than he has been over since he became Shorty G.
Oh, no, he's way more. When he came out, I was waiting, I mean, Ali got a bigger reaction than he did, and they're not doing nothing with Ali, or it was about the same, but it's the same or bigger. And, but no, this gimmick is it's such a terrible gimmick. That's all I'll say. And then they made it worse with that ring outfit that he's wearing. It's just they're just, and the way he acts, everything. And it's boy, talk about making a baby face. It's I think that Vince thinks he's this hero to short people, and and it's kind of
I'm short. We don't need a hero. Well, it's ridiculous.
Rey Mysterio, but okay, here's the thing: you got Rey Mysterio in the company, who's probably
who, by the way, was on Smackdown. I might add.
Well, that's another thing. Yeah, well, that was the over/under, right? It was what was it from the finals of the thing? It was 11 days before somebody crossed over. Now, I during the week I asked someone in the company, and it was this. I think this was Wednesday, is Ray, because you really don't want Kane on that show on Friday without Ray, but we've made it clear that Ray can't be on the show. And it was like the decision hasn't been made, but Ray's probably going to be on the show, and he shouldn't be on the show, and it makes no sense for him to be on the show based on everything that we've said. But, Kane can't go on his own either, and they end up doing so it's like, yeah, it was 11 days.
It was funny because, like, the beginning of the show, they had the Miz TV with both teams. And it's like
the other guys
half
be
the
there.
teams are there because they're not allowed to be on this show. And then an hour later, Ray comes out as Kane's mouthpiece.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, my God.
I know. It's it. But you know what? He had to be there. Kane couldn't cut the promo. So he had to be there.
Well, I mean, it is fake. He didn't have to cut a promo. I mean, there's stuff that you can do. I mean, he actually did cut a promo in Spanish later that actually, I mean, it was a pretty fiery, pretty damn good promo, quite frankly.
Oh, okay.
Nobody knew what he said.
But they needed someone to tell you what he said, because there's nothing more annoying than you do that promo and nobody tells you what he said.
Well, particularly because in WWE they're doing the gimmick now where the heels speak Japanese or whatever, and that's like their heel gimmick. They don't speak English. So here's Kane out here screaming in Spanish, and they don't translate for him. It was a very weird show, but it was a very good main event.
Yeah. Really good main event.
And I like Brock giving Kane the F5 onto Ray's son, although the acting by the doctors was horrific.
Yeah. I guess, I thought that, I think that the character that they're doing with Nikki Cross is like, they're trying to do this organic, character that feels so completely unorganic. That was kind of like my thing. It's like they're trying to get her. Yeah. So I mean, she's doing this promo and it's like, I know what they're trying to do, but it's like they're forcing it. It's like, it's not coming natural at all. So, but yeah, she's top contender for Bayley right now because she won that elimination match. So I don't know when that match is taking place. Maybe, but next pay-per-view after this is Survivor Series, so that's probably going to be elimination matches. So maybe on TV next week. So I thought they had enough of Flair and Hogan that the rating won't be that bad. And again, I think Hogan and Flair still, at least the last time they were on Raw, they meant a lot. So, I mean, still, I don't expect it to be more than maybe 1.7 million viewers, and it could be less. But
I'm going to predict 1.9.
That'd be really great for FS1. I would be. That sounds awful